So it'll be very educational. I took out time because I think that this is a teachable moment, and I trust that this woman is watching and that her husband is watching. I also do have queued up our last interview that I did with her because when we did the interview, there were many things that I was thinking during the interview that remained unsaid out of respect because I honor those whom I collaborate with. As we say, show love to those who show love to you. We have a three-sentence Bible: be yourself, be good to yourself, be good to good people. The moment I know you to not be a good person, well, then all bets are off. I do want to review that if you all have time and if you support it, we can go through because there are a lot of things to note and to learn from in terms of red flags in women that you can read in the way that she speaks, her word choice, her body carriage, her general appearance, the things that she's consuming during the interview. So I want to review that with you all. But firstly, let's go ahead and talk. I'm going to summarize the situation and then I'm going to break it down point by point in a very surgical fashion. Number one, in summary, there was a woman who calls herself a conservative that I did an online collaboration with that many of you may have seen. We did the online collaboration. It was fine. And following, one of the important parts that came up was Candace Owens during that, at which point I had my video editor go back and chop up those clips. He pushed them out. They performed very well. I asked my video editor, I said, you think we should do a second spin on the Candace Owens bit as a debate? He says, yeah, absolutely. It'll do really well. Well, then who would I naturally think of debating? This woman, because she's the one who brought it up and we were on polar opposite sides. So I said, okay, fantastic. I'll reach out to her, reestablish contact, and then we'll set up the debate, which I trust she'll want to do because it gets her huge viewership above what she typically gets. So anyways, oh yeah, by the way, if you have my course, the Master Communicator course, it has a number of great gems in it: interpersonal communication, communication within relationships, communication in the workplace, body language, and of course, debate tactics. And in the debate tactics portion, I teach you a couple things. Know thy enemy, research the enemy, and make sure that you can reduce variables, increase constants, meaning things you know about the enemy, things you know about the enemy's arguments. And also, I do talk about ad hominems in the debate tactics, which is a 2-lesson piece. So if you don't have the Master Communicator course, I highly recommend it. It'll last you a lifetime in all areas of life. That being the case, I reached out to her to reestablish rapport and then offer her the opportunity to debate on Candace Owens. But first, I wanted to gather some intel and construct some arguments. And I needed some pieces of information to make certain arguments that I wanted to make. And I knew that if she already knew I wanted to debate her on Candace Owens, she might not tell the truth, or she might know that I was asking questions for a particular reason, which is to say, to put together an argument. So I asked her the questions. And then she did something that happens all too often. She narcissistically and arrogantly, I don't even know if she assumed it, to be honest with you. But for some strange reason, she took it as an advance to her. And I have all of the DMs that you guys can review them and tell me what you think. She took it as an advance. And then here comes her beta male husband to crash out, which I thought, oh, wow, this is fascinating. And there's a bigger teachable moment, which is why we're going to review all of it. So we're teaching some Marquettism here. This is an integrated, a philosophy rather that consists of an entire system of thinking, integrated actions and beliefs and positions that allow you to live happy, healthy, and wealthy. And a part of that is there's certain ways to manage your household, manage your woman. One thing we do not believe in is women in the workforce. Women in the workforce are very problematic. And this is a great example of why and how. We're going to dive into it. So part of this talk will be about the problem of women in the workplace with men. Yes, it's a little bit different if it's a woman in a workplace with all women. You know, your wife, for example, is, you know, if she's a police officer, that's terrible. One, she can't actually do that job. Number two, she's surrounded by dudes. It's terrible. It's a setup. But when you have women in the workplace, there's only a couple jobs that even really make sense for them. There are more than just what's listed here, but some of them would be childcare, you know, like a babysitter. And this would be for young women typically. OBGYN, or delivering babies, or a gynecologist. These are great jobs for females. Or early childhood education, teaching preschool, kindergarten, maybe the first grade, second grade. And then beyond that, you should probably have male instructors. So unless maybe it's a girl at an all-girls school, right? But anyways, very few men actually, I should really say, like, probably no men really want their woman in the workplace in general, especially around men or when they have to interact and interface with men. Men don't want that. No, 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 sir, Bob. Beta males begrudgingly allow it. Why? Because they have very little influence and leadership over their woman. They're 50-50 in many things. Or they're 80-20 and the woman is dominating. So I want you all to pay very close attention to a number of pieces. So this is her husband, and I only know this because he DM'd me. I don't know this because I researched him or tried to find out who he is, because I had no interest at all. It was completely irrelevant, not germane to any collaboration that I was doing with his wife. So this fellow reaches out, and here you see his profile, Michael Rice. His public profile reads social media expert, yes, turning strategy into results, passion into power. This man has no power. He has not even power over his wife. He has not even power over his own affairs. Now, imagine the kind of male we're dealing with when he has self-titled social media expert. How many followers does this expert have? He has 52 followers. Oh, give me a second. Someone said, just told me that my mic is not working. Let's see. Oh, gee, how did you guys let me do this long? Oh, it hurts my heart. How could you guys? How could you? Someone please confirm that the microphone is now picking up my audio. How dare you all? Shout out to my editor. Anyways, so this fella has called himself a social media expert, yet he only has 52 followers. And another thing to consider with regards to being a social media expert or influencer or marketer as represented by your social media following, you also have to consider the ratio of followers to the people you're following, because generally if someone follows you and you follow them back, that's kind of like one for one. If you're an important person on social media, the calculus is that people may follow you, but you don't necessarily have to follow them back. So this fella has 52 followers, yet he has self-proclaimed himself a social media expert, which is to let you know that he's not an honest man. He's not a man of integrity. He's not an authentic person. You can't believe him because he's claiming to have a skill set that he does not have. And here's how strange it is. I have way, way more followers than him, and I don't even call myself a social media expert. I think that would be a tall tale, even though I go around the world. I get recognized from social media. I have a large following across several platforms. I still wouldn't call myself a social media expert. I think that'd be an exaggeration. I wouldn't feel comfortable. But in his case, he feels comfortable calling himself a social media expert with less followers than you who are watching this right now. Extraordinary. So it lets you know what kind of character we're dealing with. Someone immature, someone not realistic, someone who is not a believable person. How could his woman ever believe in him when he's a liar? So he's a beta male, which is to say he's in a weak position. And what he does is he has to accept what she does. So begrudgingly, he allows his woman to go out into this cold world and be among men and interact with men and put his relationship and herself at risk in the process just for a couple bucks. He accepts that begrudgingly. Women who do this, they put themselves at risk, no doubt, for various forms of abuse and various aggressions, micro or otherwise. And they put the relationship at risk. Why is that? Because no matter how chaste, moral, conservative, traditional a woman may be, we're human beings, and opportunity presenting itself over time, especially if your man said the wrong thing on a particular day or your hormones are going a certain way, it provides too much familiarity with someone of the opposite gender, too much space and opportunity. It's a bad idea. So the woman chooses to go into the workforce, you see, because in these United States of America, in the Western world, it is absolutely unnecessary for women to work when they are married or when they're in a relationship with a man, a long-term relationship. It's unnecessary. And I'll be elaborating that on my later talk. Now, what happens is she puts herself in harm's way. She is a salmon putting herself into the bear's mouth. She is a gazelle putting herself into a lion's den. And then when the inevitable happens, what do? They play shocked and surprised, and they play innocent as though they have not been conniving and, flaunting themselves and prancing around and dressing inappropriately and forming unnecessary relationships. And then they go and get their beta male husband or boyfriend or fiance, and they send him to crash out. For good reason? No, for no good reason at all. And we can talk a little bit more about that shortly. I got some stories on that. Shout out to the folks supporting the work. I appreciate you. If you guys send in your questions, comments early, it'll be more efficient. So that's what they do. The woman puts herself in harm's way. She then basically sets up all the guys in the workforce to act on human nature. And when they act on human nature, or when they even seem like they're acting on human nature, she'll trump it up if it's not even there. If it's not there, she'll trump it up, and then she'll turn around and go to HR. She'll turn around and go to her beta male husband or her beta male boyfriend and say, well, he's harassing me. And it's like, word? Not really, dear. Let's get into it. We're teaching today. So this is just some receipts to show you the verity of my words. Messaged my editor some time ago. I write, do you think a round 2 on Candace Owens would get good viewership? He writes, yes, sir. Open debate. I write, it could be an open debate. And so there you go. Now, who would I be most likely to want to debate with? The woman who actually brought it up and would be interesting to debate with, because she's a YouTuber. And when you have females in the thumbnail, it does better than a male in the thumbnail. Especially white females do much better. So I said, okay, I'm going to debate this woman. And per what I teach you in the Master Communicator course, gather intel on the enemy, know all the questions that you're going to ask and the answers before you ask them, formulate your arguments, know all of the rebuttals. And so I wanted to go in and get a little bit of intel before formally proposing it. And that is to say, putting her on guard. So anyways, my logic was this. This is one of the arguments that came up during our last conversation. And as you can see right here, this is our last interview, and we can review that whole thing if you guys support, because there's a lot of game to get from there. But we'll review at least some of it. But in that discussion, she brought up Candace Owens. We were diametrically opposed. And one of the conversation pieces I brought up is, Candace Owens is a self-hating Black woman. She's a white supremacist. Now, mind you, I don't have anything against interracial dating, interracial marriage. I love all of God's people. I do have a 3-sentence Bible, however. Be yourself, be good to yourself, be good to good people. Candace Owens hates herself. She doesn't know herself. She cannot be good to herself because she tries to negate the self. She tries to eradicate the self, her Blackness, by straightening her hair to look like a Caucasian. She tries to verify her adopted identity by going deeper into whiteness, by marrying the whitest guy possible. That's my argument. Not that there's anything wrong with interracial dating, interracial friendships, interracial marriage, interracial procreation. Nothing wrong with it at all, except when it is specifically done as a function of self-hatred, which is the case in Candace Owens. And we had a brief discussion about that. And I wanted to go in deeper into that argument. So I said to this woman, I'm not going to tell you what I said to the woman in the DMs. I'll show you. But here was my logic. Piece 1. Candace Owens just happens to be in a marriage with a white man. That was the argument that the woman made, that that's who she loves. And she's not a self-hating Black woman. I said, she just happens to be in a marriage with a white man instead of a Black man, which would be like the natural pairing. Then the second piece. Well, since interracial dating and marriage is so easy, how many Black men have you been with? You had Black boyfriends before? You dated Black guys? Because you're not married to a Black guy. You're married to a white guy. You're white. He's white. So if it's okay and it's so easy to be in an interracial relationship, why aren't you in one? Then the third piece, and I already know what she's going to say to that in terms of her defense, but I didn't know the answer as to if she has or has not been involved with a Black man. So I want to get that information. Then the next piece is, you have been with, this is my assumption, obviously, and that's why I had to ask. You have been with 0 Black men. This is what I'm guessing. If dating and marrying within your race is good for you, Why then is it not good for Candace Owens? And I already know what her response would be. Well, like Candace and I are different. And, I just had, and then she's going to give all these explanations, right? And I already anticipated what they would be. For example, she might say, well, maybe Candace Owens grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, or she went to a predominantly white school. And then that would go to my arguments about how she developed her hatred for Black people and how she, in being minoritized, viewed the mainstream, the white culture, as superior because she was raised in it. And what is dominant, or the majority, is of course going to be favored. So I was going to let her walk into all those traps, but I needed some of that foundational information. Anyways, so those were my logic. That was my logic that I was going to build. So anyways, I want to take you through the whole DM conversation. This is a private DM from the very first time I encountered this woman. And the reason I want to take you through is because it'll give you a chance to assess motive, assess the tone in which I've been engaging her. You guys saw me do the live interview, and I want you to just be able to get all of the data points so that you can make an assessment, because I'm curious to hear that, hear what you think as well. First, let me go ahead and respect our tradition, which is show love to those who show love to you. May I first acknowledge the folks using the information below. Shout out to Dominic, came in via PayPal. He writes, peace to the saints, tuition. I hope they know how to show love to those who show love to you. Oh, absolutely. It's a must. Those are the people who will take care of you when you need it. Shout out to Cameron. He writes, Saint, can you save these type of women? Maybe you could, but the real question is, why would you try? Just go get a woman that's already the way you want her. It's the difference between buying a fixer-upper house and then just buying the house that you really want. So the real question for you is, how can I get into a position to where I can get what I want when I want it? He further writes, if you can't save them, do you think that they should be left to the beta males? Peace of the saints. Well, you can make use of them. They do still have 3 holes that are functioning order, and some of them may even have money. So you can make use of them, but you ought not impregnate them, and you ought not spend significant time with them. It's not worthwhile. And in some of their cases, they're not even very attractive. And we'll have a talk about that during this conversation as well. And this conversation is meant to be edifying. It's not to disrespect any individuals or anything like that, though there may be some collateral damage. And I'm comfortable with that. And thank you for that question. By the way, shout out to Nicholas, who just became a member at thesassin.com. That's THESASN.com. Simply click join. May I also acknowledge Derek, who just got the conference 3 footage. And that was one of my favorite conferences. I do believe I may have talked about negotiation and negotiation tactics during that one, which was a really eye-opening piece for the people who were there. So highly recommend it. You can go to thesassin.com, click products, and get conference 3 footage education. Shout out to Enrique. He writes, peace of the saints. I already know you're about to cook. Support for the good work. Oh, indeed, I shall. Shout out to Payne, been very consistent. Shout out to Tariq or Tariq, writes, peace of the saints. And I also acknowledge Chung. Very consistent every time. And shout out to all my moderators. Shout out to Mr. Williams sending in the super sticker. Drip Lord came and writes, peace of the saints, supporting the work. That man is a real baller, by the way. Shout out to Saint KH. He writes, Shorty doesn't have electricity in part of her house, but got time to send her husband on a dummy mission. We used to be a proper country. Listen, we gonna get into it, babe. Shout out to TF writes, peace of the saints, appreciate you. Now let's go ahead and get to this work. Let's get to this work. Here we go. So this is the very first DM that was ever sent. That was April 22nd, and this was sent from her to me. So she started the DM conversation. I didn't fail to scroll. This is the very beginning. Nothing is omitted. And so she writes, hey, if you were serious about a collab, let's make it happen. I'd replied to a tweet I don't know if you call it a thread or a tweet thread, who knows? But I'd replied to a main tweet that she was on. And so this was her DMing me following up. And then I write, hey, Liz, let's do an online YouTube collaboration. Would this date and time work for you? And then she writes, I can't be up that late on a Sunday, man. Now, already this tells you a lot about her. What kind of woman calls you man? No, I can't be on a Sunday, man. This is very vulgar. This is masculine. This is gruff. This is not feminine by any means. So what it's immediately establishing is her type. You have a pairing with the masculine man and the feminine woman. You also have a pairing of the masculine. You can't really have a masculine woman. That's just a dysfunctional woman, right? That's a broken, backward woman. That's a woman who suffered trauma. So you have the woman who shows masculine traits, or she performs masculine traits because she can't have them. You have the masculine female and the effeminate male, also known as the beta male, also known as the weak male. So that is the nature of the relationship that she's in. You can tell by her language. And you also go back to the piece earlier about women not being supposed to be in the workforce because there's a lack of integrity. There's a lack of real ambition about their work. They're not hard workers. They don't want to work. They mostly want to go on vacation. They'd rather spend the money than make the money. It just is what it is. So anyways, she reached out to me, as you can see, to start the collaboration. I proposed a date and time. Now, mind you, she has no following whatsoever. She has 541 followers, which is worth noting, by the way. She is in a superior position above her husband, who's a social media expert. That should tell you all something. But with regards to her compared to me, I would benefit not at all because she has pretty much no following at all. So this would be wholly beneficial to her. So certainly it would make more sense that she would push for the collaboration. I graciously provide her a date and a time, and then in a very womanly fashion, not ambitious about the opportunity she's getting, because women get too many opportunities while having done no work, having not earned it. She writes, "I can't be up that late on a Sunday, man." Dang, you don't even know me like that, shorty. I work early an hour from home, which lets you know she also has a square job where she works among men. And she also has a chosen job where she also works among men. So this is not traditional. This is not conservative. This is not a kept woman. She writes, "Can you make it work earlier in the day by chance?" So she said that. And honestly, I think at the time I was traveling Europe and touring on holiday. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Who cares? Like, I'm not going to waste my time trying to do you a favor. And so I just basically didn't reply. Then she follows up sometimes later. She writes, "Watch more of your content today, and we can definitely have an awesome collab." Let's see. "I'm in the Eastern Standard Time Zone and still tied to a matrix job." Now she's talking about matrix jobs, which lets you know that she's very tuned into manosphere content. Manosphere. Yes. And you should be suspicious of these types. She writes, "I'm in the Eastern Standard Time Zone, still tied to a matrix job that makes me need, not want, need to get up at 4 a.m. Ooh, rough. Monday through Friday. I know you're super busy. If you have a day that can work at an earlier time, I will try to move heaven and earth to make it happen." So it seems as though after I didn't reply, she maybe came to her senses and made a proposal. Okay, now mind you, you have men who are truly dominant and then men who are pretending to be dominant. And for those men who are not dominant, know who you are and know what you are, and don't go against those men that are above your pay grade. It might get you hurt. So anyways, I replied to her, "I'm having a particularly busy week and then flying to Europe. That was the only time in the near term. Can we touch base in a week to see if we can do an online collab? I'm abroad." I don't know why there's a question mark. That's just a typo. And it's very important too that I note that there's a typo there. And one thing I want you guys to be aware of is, sometimes we, in our own narcissism, arrogance, and self-absorption, we might think that other people are thinking about us when they're not thinking about us. Other people are focused on us when they really don't care anything about us. We might think that other people are paying attention to us when really they forgot we were even alive. So I just want to earmark that for you. Like, sometimes we're self-absorbed and we think too hard and we think people are thinking about us when that's not the case. So let's carry on. So then she writes, "Absolutely, safe travels." Then she follows up. So she's been clearly pursuing this. She writes, "Hey, just wanted to touch base with you about the collab and see if it's still something you want to do." Now, mind you, it's clearly something you want to do. You've brought it back up 3 times. "Hi, which time zone are you in?" She writes Eastern Standard. And then I reply, "If you're free now or this morning, blah, blah, blah." And we just basically scheduled it. Then she sent this photo over, which is worth noting for a number of reasons, and we'll get back to that. Then I write, "All right, see you at 10 a.m. EST. I'll send the link before then." I didn't like the photo. I didn't heart the photo. I didn't compliment the photo. Very standard business, and we're proceeding on. So this establishes the tone of the conversation and the nature of the way that I'm engaging with her. Maybe if it was woman to woman, certainly would have complimented. Maybe if it was a lesser man, would have complimented and tried to be flirtatious. But no, strictly business. So this establishes the tone in the way that we're engaging. And mind you, nothing has been omitted. This is the full conversation. And I want you to understand really what happened so you can see how a woman can set you up for failure, for death and destruction, all for no reason except their own narcissism. Shout out to Michael, came in by PayPal. He writes, I appreciate and thank you for the knowledge. You're very welcome. And I thank you for the support. Shout out to Mr. Gardner, writes, peace to the saints, tuition. Also acknowledge Dominic. He writes, quote, she's seeking a man who is the woman she can never be, end quote. MDB, bro, I'm trying to tell you. You got these high testosterone ladies out here, man. Shout out to the ballers. Lee came in with the baller alert. He writes, giving tribute to a genuine orator. Peace of the saints. I appreciate that. Thank you. And there are not many of us left. Folks nowadays can scarcely speak English, including the whites. It used to be white people could speak English. They forgot. And we really got to keep India under control. Every now and then I'm listening to First Post or one of these news outlets, and there's this woman named Keisha Palkey or something like that. She's a feminist, disgusting pig animal of a human being. And she's always mispronouncing English words. And it's alarming because with a country over 1 billion people, if they muddy the language too frequently, then their mispronunciation becomes the correct pronunciation. So we must absolutely protect the English language. It's really unfortunate what's going on. Even when I'm in London, you'll have people out there talking about 1, 2, free. Free? What is free? You mean 3? Come on now. This is where English was created. Please get it right. Anyways, so back to this character here. So this, what you see in the upper photo is the actual screenshot of us on live debating, which is to say at some level, it's what we look like. And then you'll see the photo that she actually sent to me, and you'll see a significant difference in appearance. Now, in my opinion, the photo that she sent is superior to what you see live of her. And just remember that as we proceed on. And mind you, I didn't compliment the photo when it was sent. We kept it business. And also, I didn't flirt with her or engage her inappropriately during the live stream. Kept it business. So anyways, a woman acting in the capacity of a podcaster or acting as a peer or, acting in the capacity of a man, right? We're both podcasters in a man's world in the workforce, which is for men. I want you guys to ask yourself this. Would it be immoral or offensive if I asked Rollo Tomasi? I use Rollo as an example because he's another podcaster. And shout out to Rollo. If I said to Rollo, hey, Rollo, have you ever been with a black woman? Would that be an immoral question? Would that be an offensive question? Now, mind you, Rollo Tomasi, he's a married man with children. Would that be offensive or immoral to ask him that? No, it wouldn't be offensive or immoral. It would just be a question. It'd be a question among peers, a question among colleagues, a question among podcasters, especially who are in a space where we often talk about relationships, marriage, divorce, gender dynamics, intersexual, this or that. It'd be a completely reasonable question, online or offline. Neither one would be immoral or offensive. Would you guys agree? If you agree with that one, put a 1 in the chat. Yeah, you're right, Marquett. If you ask Rollo Tomasi, a fellow podcaster, has he ever been with a black woman? That would not be immoral or offensive, even though he's married and has kids and is a podcaster. 1, if it's normal stuff, nothing to think twice about. 2, if Marquett, that's very offensive. That's very offensive. I need to report you to Rollo Tomasi's wife. You need to be reported. His wife needs to crash out. Okay. Great. So it seems like we're on the same page. That's not offensive at all. We're colleagues in a given space. And I know she knows the space because she used the term matrix, which I don't even use. So I know she knows the space. Okay, cool. So here it is. Fighting. Okay, so this is before, I think this is during the podcast, or right when we're supposed to start the podcast. I was in Belize at the time. I'd left Europe, arrived in Belize, and she was at her house in the comfort of her home and, her home studio. and her internet seemed to have been going out. And so she writes, fighting a storm with Starlink internet. Anyway, so I'd written, how have you been? Now, this is me re-engaging her because I want to do the part 2, which is a Candace Owens debate. That's what I want to do. I want to reconnect, establish rapport, milk her for information before I tell her the topic and make the proposal for the debate. So just reconnecting here, and we'll go through it. May I acknowledge, shout out to John. He writes, wasn't that girl you used to date Bridget White? No, I actually never dated Bridget. And yes, Bridget is white. I think that's very well known. He writes, Candace Owens' hair isn't fake. Okay. I never said her hair is fake, you fool. I said that her hair is combed or permed, which destroys its natural properties, which is, 1, damaging to the hair. Number 2, these chemicals are near toxic. They have other effects that are terrible, in some cases cancerous. And then lastly, the self-hatred piece. So, and mind you, I would love to have you come on. If you seem so strong about your opinions, I'd be happy to let you come on camera and explain yourself. Then the individual writes, she just has silky hair. Oh, please stop it. And I welcome you to show the audience her fake hair right now. Oh my, this person keeps using parentheses. It's very passionate little typer. Anyways, John, if you'd like to come on, I invite you. This might be her husband in disguise. John follows up. He writes, you say men that follow Candace are feminine. Yes, like you, for example. Yes. And I invite you to come on. If you're such a masculine, brave, strong man, please let me know. I'll share the link. You can come on and you can speak your arguments. You don't even need to send a single penny. I will let you come on and speak your arguments. He writes, you say men that follow Candace Owens are feminine, but I would say a man who keeps making hit pieces on a woman that has never mentioned him might just be one of the most feminine and pathetic things I've ever seen. That, my friend, is a run-on sentence. Yes, I think I've observed just one period. I believe that's a run-on sentence. But more importantly, please come on and elaborate on that. I'd love to really understand. You might be able to teach me something, and I'm happy to learn. Please come on. Please, I beg of you, come teach me. I would like to learn from you, John. And for those of you who are masculine, so John, this doesn't include you. When you make an argument or an assertion like you just did, so I'll pop it back on screen. His assertion is that making hit pieces, as he calls it, on Candace Owens, which I've still not yet done. I plan to, but I've not yet done that. He says that is feminine. Well, you see, that's a conclusion. You must establish a logic or a rationale that supports the conclusion. You failed to do that. You pretty much just said your outcome, but you didn't explain how you got to it. And that, my dear boy, is a sign of inferior intelligence and high levels of emotionalism and anger. It's okay. It happens. It happens. But I'd like you to come on. Yeah, John is scared. It's a pity. And this always happens. And that is my whole point, ladies and saints. That's my whole point. These are effeminate men. They're cowards. They're scared to show themselves. They're the weak males. They're not strong, tall, or good looking. They're not successful. They're not well off. That's why they follow women. Strong, successful men, they have not a care in the world, not a fear in the world. That's why they can say what they really mean. They don't have to back down. They can show their face on the camera. They don't have to be scared of any consequences. They're men. And the weaklings, they do exactly what I predict every single time. So yes, you proved me right. You're a coward. And in your femininity, you're scared to deal with the big bad wolf. Bye-bye, John. Thanks for being here, though, John. We appreciate you. Anyways, back to this broad. So anyways, here we are. So I reintroduce, hey, how have you been, Liz? She writes, been good, man. Been good, man. It's like, well, Shorty drives 16-wheelers for a living. She writes, how about you? Good to hear. Same. You crossed my mind, young lady. I've been trying out Starlink. Now, mind you, you see Starlink right here, and you guys who follow my content, you know that, in fact, I have actually been trying out Starlink. It's actually not been working. I write, I'm still waiting on a cord that they failed to include in my kit. Have you ever been with a black man? Very simple, very straightforward, very clear question. And in fact, it's a yes or a no question. You see, one thing I think escaped me, and I'll tell you in a moment when I ask this question, what escaped me. Actually, I'll tell you right now. It escaped me that when I say, have you ever been with a black man, she might think I'm talking about like proposing myself, maybe. It's not entirely logical, but sometimes you have to try to think how the other person thinks. And in this case, it would be like in a completely broken way. Because the reason I wouldn't even consider that, and it goes simply back to the following. Let's see. It goes back to the following. You see, we this is an image of her and I interviewing. During the interview, I was very clear with her that I view her as a career woman. I view that not as traditional. I view Candace Owens as the same. We're out of sync in terms of values. I presume that she has children, and we know she has a husband. I presume she has children. She lives in the middle of nowhere. She doesn't have any level of sophistication or nothing impressive about her that she can teach me. We don't agree on much of anything. So it's not like I'm attracted to her based on personality or intellect or accomplishment. So that's off the table. So then it would have to purely be based on physicality. And as you guys can see here, I'm just going to enlarge this for you. Her photo's not terrible, but it's not terribly good either. The reality of things, what you see in the video screenshot there, is like, this is not a woman that would excite me at all. And this is no disrespect to her. I trust that her husband at least finds her reasonably attractive. But for me, this doesn't do anything because she doesn't have the personality and values that would attract me. And then the physicality is not there because her face is very round, doesn't have any like real shape to it. Her nose is bulbous, meaning like a bit rounded. You can see on the screen capture, she tried to use makeup to shape the nose, but you can see on the photo, which is actually more clear, that her nose is quite bulbous. Her lips are thinner than I would like, especially as a black man. I prefer fuller lips, just, because I'm black, probably, right? And the hair is not particularly attractive, and of course, with age, it'll start to thin and not have as much body. So that dang, does somebody put the hairline is wild? That's crazy. That too. But I say that to say she's not just like a knockout where there's a reason for me to pursue a woman who lives in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, which is quite far away from me, who's already married, who presumably has children, and who I don't share values with. There's no motivating force to do such a thing. It just doesn't make any sense. So I'm just saying, you really have to be truly self-absorbed and narcissistic to think that out of nowhere, I'm pursuing you, even though you're not attractive. And in fact, to be honest with you, I think that I'm more attractive to her, or should be more attractive than her as a woman. I'm not saying I look better than her, just meaning like me versus males and her versus women. No, I'm saying if I were a woman, I'd be a more attractive woman. And I say that if you just isolated the features, like if you isolate the eye, I think, and you look at the eyebrow and the brow bone, I think my brow bone and my eyebrow are more natural. Like if we were both natural, I think mine looks better. If you look at the eye, she has large eyes, which my mother has large eyes. So I like that feature. I'm partial to that. You look at the shape of the nose. I think my nose is more beautiful than her nose. You look at lips. Women should have full lips, right? It's more attractive. That's why they get them injected. My lips are fuller than hers. If you look at teeth, my teeth are straighter and whiter than hers. You look at face shape. My face has more shape and contour than hers. She doesn't have cheekbones, which is an attractive feature in the woman. She tried to use the is it called rouge or that like blush or that pink stuff to give shape to the face, which she just does not have. So. And then she doesn't really have the defined jaw, which I personally don't like that. I like a woman to have a little bit of fat under the jaw. It's a little more feminine. But the point is that there's no features. And this is just from the neck up. And I know for sure, from the neck down, it's all wreckage. Respectfully, it's all wreckage. There's no features that would attract someone like me. So it's really a slap in the face to suggest that I'm pursuing you. And that's not a roast. That's just observation of fact. I haven't tried to say anything that's funny. These are just observations that anyone could make. Anyways, carrying on. So now you have that context. So anyways, I write, have you ever been with a black man? Which I have a particular reason for this. And then insert Homer Simpson. Homer Simpson comes out of nowhere and gets to simping. And I want to, before I tell you what Homer Simpson said, that was the last message that I exchanged with Liz. And then Homer Simpson comes out of nowhere. But I want to give you guys a little bit of context because beta males tend to crash out. And it's ironic because the beta male is the weak male. So you'd wonder, why are they the ones always crashing out when they have very little prospect of winning because they have limited power? They crash out because the broad tells them to, sends them on a dummy mission, you see, because the broad is the one really managing and running them. Yes, this is, in fact, a liberal white female who parades as a conservative. And I'll expose that when we go through the video. I want to watch the last video when her and I had the discussion. I want to point out some things that I never before pointed out, but I think will be highly educational and instructive. Shout out to Patrick. He writes, what's the psychology behind an off day? When you were competing in boxing, how did you combat these off days? Thank you, Saint. I didn't really take a whole day off when I was actually competing. You might take a day slower and call that your off day. So, like I always want to get some amount of running in, some amount of jump rope. It might be a very limited amount, but I want to go through those motions of shadow boxing and build muscle memory. And most importantly, keep my mind strong. Shout out to Cole. He writes, this chick thinks she's Macho Man Randy Savage. Peace of the Saints, bro. I'm trying to tell you. Shout out to Enterprise writes, aka Thuld writes, I tried sending my tuition on Venmo. It didn't let me send it. So I'm here now. Coincidentally, I just saw a video on X before this live on how some women set up their man for a butt kicking. Yes, indeed. It is so very common. And I can tell you in my life, I'd probably say about 80% of the fades that I had to give out were because a broad sent a guy on a dummy mission and, end up getting a young boy hurt. But anyways, back to this one. So I want to tell you guys a quick anecdote. This is a true story, recent story. So I had some of the Saints come down to the plantation. In fact, I should say they volunteered to come down to the plantation to help me out. And I'm very thankful. It was something that just shows how blessed we are to be a part of this community. So anyway, some of the Saints come down and my old lady cooked them up 2 meals. She cooked them up lunch from scratch, and then she cooked them up a dinner from scratch. When everyone was about to leave, we're outside at the circle in front of the plantation, and people are getting into their cars. And then one of the Saints says, oh, hey, I left something in the house. And so he runs back into my house. I'm still outside with other Saints. He goes into a particular room. I don't remember what he left. He goes into a room. My old lady's in there. And then he says to her, I don't recall what he said. Obviously, I wasn't there. She reported this to me. But he says something to the effect of, thanks, the food was great, dear, or something. I don't know, something he said, and then said dear or some kind of a term of endearment or pet name, something like this. Now, mind you, my women don't introduce themselves. I don't introduce them. They don't shake hands. They don't say anything. They don't make eye contact. None of that. So they've been invisible the whole time. They'll be there, but they've been invisible. They've not been engaging you. It's truly traditional conservative according to SAS and standards. So there's no level of interaction, which is to say the young man who went back in, and I like him very much, good brother. He went back, he shouldn't have said anything because she's never said anything to anyone the whole time ever in the history of you having been around her. She never says anything to anybody. She hasn't introduced herself, hasn't shook hands, nothing. So it makes sense. Just keep it the same. Don't say anything. It's just not necessary. But anyways, for some reason, he wanted to say something, which was even more inappropriate because they were alone. It was just her and him. He wasn't even supposed to be there. He went back in because he said he forgot something, which he did. And of course, I come back in and she says, hey, so-and-so, who she would describe as, according to his looks, because she doesn't know anyone's name, so-and-so who looks like this. He said this verbatim. I just want to let you know. Thank you. Now, it could have been an opportunity to crash out or to confront him or to ask him why, but I'm a secure man. I'm not a crash out, a beta male, a simp, a weak male who in my weakness and my insecurity feel like everyone's trying to take my girl. They're trying to like embarrass me. They're trying to like make advances. They're being immoral and they're not using etiquette. Now, frankly, that was a lapse in etiquette, truth be told. And stated etiquette, like our etiquette is stated. We've already told everyone you don't need to shake hands with other people's girl. You don't even need to address them. We've already stated that. So it's agreed upon etiquette within a community that shares values. And still, all I said was, thank you for telling me. That's it. Full stop. Thank you for telling me. I didn't follow up. I didn't say anything to him. I think it was a misstep on his part. I think it was inappropriate. I think she did the right thing for letting me know, but it was not enough to escalate. It was not necessary. When I try to assess what his intentions were probably not anything negative, consciously at least. And what were her intentions in reporting it to me? Could it have been to like make me turn up, make me crash out? Chicks do that. But me as a wise leader, I know how to take the information, thank her, be happy that she follows protocol, keep an eye out, a vigilant eye, but not escalate things and create conflict with other men over pettiness. You see, pettiness. So That's an example of how a real man reacts when your lady reports something back to you. You interpret it. Hey, maybe it could have been in advance. Maybe it could not have been. I'll assume the best. Or because it was not anything significant, it's irrelevant. Now, mind you, they were in my house in a room alone. That's fairly serious, right? And still, I was like, it's nothing. Now, this crash out dummy, I asked the chick one question out of a whole DM conversation. And after we've already had a face to, online collaboration, I asked one question over a DM, and then he's like, crash out time. It's like, bro, are you serious right now? And also, you can't even do anything. You're in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky. And if you were in person, you really wouldn't even bring this up. Honestly, you wouldn't. And if you did, it wouldn't go well. It wouldn't go well because A, I have no interest in your old lady, but B, I just might be in the mood to slap your kufi off. You heard me? Oh yeah, no, I said I was going to be nice. I forgot. I am going to be nice. I forgot about that. But anyways, the problem is that you have guys who think that they're dominant. They think that they have their wife under, leadership and management, and they think that they have influence over their lady. They think that they're above the lady and the lady is submissive. They think that they are the shield of their woman when in reality, you're not. That's why she's out in the world among men, interacting with men. Of course, these things are going to happen. So when you have your woman out in the world, working, interacting with men voluntarily by her decision, and she kept pushing it, you don't think these kind of things are going to happen on a regular basis? Come on, bro. How many times are you going to crash out? Silly. It's silly. Right, exactly. The distance between he and I made him a lot tougher. But it's silly because it's like, how many times are you going to crash out, bruh? How many times? Go ahead, send in your comments, questions. We're going to get into it. Send in your tuition. Let me increase this AC because these studio lights are kicking right now. You guys ever notice that? I don't know, maybe it's just my thermostat. It's like there's a 2 degrees. If you go from like 70 to 68, like 70 feels like, okay, that's cool. You go to 68, it's freezing. It's like those 2 degrees are really 30 degrees. Insane. But anyways, I'm sure I'll be here freezing momentarily. I was trying to keep it balanced, but what can you do? Let's carry on. So here comes Homer Simpson. So here's Homer Simpson. So Homer Simpson writes the following, and I thought this was quite curious. Now, mind you, I'm a person who's confronted many people in real life, many people in various walks of life. In the ghetto I grew up, in ghettos I didn't grow up in the university, in the workplace, in business environments, in other countries. I've done a lot of confronting. Now, let's take a look at this. So, bro DMs me on Instagram. Now, mind you, they have my phone number. He could have called me. He literally could have just called me on the telephone. They have my phone number. He writes, I'm just going to be blunt with this. It's like, oh, it's so easy to be blunt over Twitter, isn't it? Over a DM. He says, I'm going to be blunt as though like that, like means something. Like you're on Twitter. You're thank you for warning me. Who cares what you say? You're on Twitter. You're not going to do anything. And if we were in person, you wouldn't be being blunt. You probably wouldn't have even addressed it, to be honest with you, because you're a weak male. But let's go into it. Homer Simpson. So he writes, I'm going to be blunt with this. Collaborating with my wife, bro, my wife. See, you're saying my is a possessive term. My is a possessive term. Your wife is for the world. Your wife is for the world. She's not your wife. She's for the world, buddy. She's for the world. Look at this. You see Shorty right there? She's covered up. All you can see are her eyes. That's my woman. You hear me? That's my woman. All you can see are her eyes. She won't shake your hand. She won't even speak English to you. You hear me? She won't even exchange words with you. That's my woman. I'm the only one who knows what she looks like. I'm the only one who knows the sound of her voice. I'm the only one who gets service. That's my possessive ownership. You little buddy, it's not my wife, bro. Like you're one of the co-owners. You hear me? She really for the streets, Brody. It's different, man. Stop acting like you the big dog. You the little homie. So, bro, over like, collaborating with my wife. Cool. Morally,
Private messaging her personal sexual questions, not cool. That will not be a thing. What a fruitcake. And I'll tell you why bro is a fruitcake. I'm going to tell you exactly why. Because like number one, little fruity fella, he writes, morally. What do you mean morally? You don't have any morals. It's immoral for your wife to be in the workforce. In fact, it's immoral. Your wife has like 2 jobs. That's immoral. The way your wife dresses is immoral. The makeup on your wife's face is immoral. The high heels your wife wears are immoral. Your wife DMing me is immoral. She started that conversation. You don't have morals as far as I'm concerned. So what are you talking about morals? You don't have any. What are you talking about? Exactly. Morally, private messaging her personal sexual questions, not cool. Now, that's what tripped me out. I was like, sexual questions? What did I say that was sexual? That was crazy. Sex, meaning intercourse. What have we said in relation to intercourse? This is the most bizarre thing right here. I thought that was way bizarre. I was like, sex? What? What are you talking about, simp boy? That was insane. But I'll tell you what, I respect the fact of she reported it back. Sure, she's trying to pretend to be a kept woman, pretending to be traditional, pretending to be conservative. Okay, cool. And you are a weak male, and I already know it, but I respect the fact that you're staying reasonably cordial. So I say to myself, as a reasonable man, because I know some guys are not as developed, not very mature, not terribly intelligent, not very accomplished. So I got to come down to their level and try to speak the language that they understand. So I said, let me try to use some kid gloves here. Maybe we can come to a common understanding. I think it's just a misunderstanding. Probably the broad exaggerated, and then he's going to crash out. Let me help him out. So I write respectfully. Now, mind you, I'm not even really that respectful in general, but right, respectfully, hi, Mike, like address him by his name, which is more respect than he accorded me. So I write, hi, Mike. The purpose of the question was this: our discussion about Candace Owens. She is with a white man. Hence, I asked if your wife has been with a black man to highlight the logic of people sticking with their own. Where did you get sexual from? That's a good question, right? Like where's the sexual part? Like, there's nothing sexual in there. So let's see. Real quick, may I acknowledge? Shout out to none of the above writes, man, is she a trucker or is that her attempting to mimic African-American vernacular? Strange either way. I know, I agree. It's very weird. Shout out to Cautious writes, good evening, Shepard. After this section is... Oh, shout out to Shahid Bolson. Yeah, absolutely. Shahid is very bright, highly intelligent, very pedantic fellow who makes meaningful analyses. And I think that he gives, he's definitely trying to push the world in a particular way, which I like for the most part. There are a couple challenges with Shahid. Is his intelligence gets misapplied when his emotions and his personal interests come into play. So what I'll see with him is he'll have beautiful flowing intelligence, good knowledge of geopolitics and history. And then when he starts talking about the United States, which I view the government of the US in the same way, and Israel as well, he'll start exaggerating about the weakness of the United States. And I'm just like, I don't like the US government, but you're not being accurate in describing the level of influence and power of the American culture and military. And it's like you're more so trying to speak something into existence rather than recounting what is. So I very much so like him. One of my old ladies shared his content because she's a devout Muslim. So yeah, he has cool stuff. I'll probably, inshallah, maybe collaborate with him. I've been curious, is he white or is he like some kind of Arab? Somebody let me know. I'm curious. Anyway, shout out to John. He writes, you constantly brag about John is back. Like, John, just come on. You don't need to send this. John, it's not necessary. Just come on. I'll give you the link. You can read it to me. You can tell it to me verbally. Shout out to Payne. He writes, that zone. John is back. Okay, I'll read the last one since you came in twice. He writes, you constantly brag about all the 304s, including Euro girls you date. Facts? That sentence did not make sense together. I don't know, maybe you meant comma and then fax. I don't know. Or maybe you meant period and then fax. I'm not sure, John. But anyways, he writes, I've seen you flirt with absolutely hideous looking black 304s that were guests on your show. Oh, you're talking about the entertainment show that I used to run? It's an entertainment show. All kinds of entertaining things happen. You're probably right, John. And I do love black women. Shout out to my sisters. He writes, you can't judge anyone. Well, I'm judging you, John, and I'm judging that you are effeminate, very unattractive, and terribly scared to come on. Like very, very scared. Like a lot. a lot. Shout out to Payne. John writes, you tell people to call in to defend their point, but when they, so this is your excuse as to why you're not calling in. I see, John. Excuses. Very nice. Very feminine. He writes, you also distract from the point of the convo. Point is people can marry whatever race they want. John, you're one of those people who thinks that you're smart, but there's no evidence of that. John, you're just very, very scared. Okay. So pretend as though you're in person and do what you would do when you're in person with me, which is to look away and be silent and, kind of like hunch in smaller. Just do that, except do it while you're sitting at home. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Johnny. Carrying on. Anyway, so I write, where did you get sexual from? Because that's just so bizarre. Then he writes, because you asked if she's been with a black man. That is asking about her sexual history. Now, mind you, I bet this clown himself has never even figured out her sexual history, which is extensive. She's a drinker and she likes to wear high heels and a lot of makeup. Everything I need to know. Asking you to be respectful, reword your conversation. That's all. Now, that's so fascinating. So then I think, maybe we can get somewhere with this. Let me get some clarity here. So then I say, wait, I'm missing something here. Okay, no, here we are. So then I write, Michael, I'm sure you owe me an apology, which is to say, like, you're for sure misunderstanding. You're for sure wrong. You're misunderstanding. I write, consider this. If I were Mexican and I asked, have you ever been with a black man? Would you think that's sexual? See, I think that both him and the broad, because she is displaying the worst characteristics of female nature. I think maybe because I'm a black man and I said, have you ever been with a black man? She maybe thinks there's some kind of allusion to me. So then I said, well, what if I said, have you ever been with a Mexican man? Is that sexual to you? If I say, have you ever been with a Mexican man? Is that sexual? Which neither are sexual. I'm just trying to help him through his thinking. Then I write, have you ever been with a black? Let's see. Secondly, have you ever been? And then I kind of inserted the phrase that's like unsaid. So I put, have you ever been with a black man? And then in the brackets, I put, have you ever been in a relationship with a black man? Which is pretty much the full thing. The unsaid part said, the silent part said out loud. So I put, have you ever been bracket in a relationship with, in bracket, with a black man? And then I write, it's shorthand. Where's the sexual part? Which still he's failed to show what is sexual in those words. Then he writes, yes, that still would be the way. What? So tell me what you are actually trying to say without the word been. What? I just did that. Are you dumb? And here's the worst thing is that he actually is not very intelligent, and it makes perfect sense. That's why both him and his wife are financially struggling. That's why she has to work 2 jobs, one of which starts at 4 a.m. She has to be out in this world and she's doing all this stuff. And he's a social media expert, but she has more followers than him because he's a low IQ person. And I just hate to see it. Really, I do. Hate to see it. So he writes, double speak doesn't work, bro. It's like, I'm for sure not your bro. We're so different. He writes, leave the race out. Well, then it would still be the same thing. Then if you remove black, it'll be, have you ever been with a man? Which is weird because you're married. So clearly you have been with a man. This is the level of stupidity I have to deal with. Do you guys feel sorry for me? I feel sorry for me. He writes, when you reference the word been, B-E-E-N, you're assuming sexually, I'm sure. See, now here's a fascinating piece. So he and I are clearly in different cultures. In my culture, I keep the woman covered up. In his culture, he puts her on high heels so that her butt sticks out, drips her in makeup, lets her go out in the world and work. We're in cultures that are so radically different. In your world, women go online in the public record and talk to strangers, men, for hours. In my world, men whom I respect and trust and come in my home, my women don't even shake hands or introduce themselves. Our culture is radically different. So if our culture is different, how then can you assume that you know what I'm thinking? How can you assume that the part that is unsaid, that we both know what it is and it's the same thing? So very dumb, just extraordinarily dumb. So he says the word been means sexually, which is insane, just true stupidity. And it just shows his level of insecurity. Now, you might ask yourself, well, Marquett, why is it you sent a DM and he feels insecure? There was a man in your house talking to your woman by himself one-on-one, and you didn't feel insecure at all. Why was he insecure over a DM and you weren't insecure when a guy was engaging your lady one-on-one in a room that's empty? Well, the difference is I'm secure and I know I'm the big homie. Like, I know I'm the big homie. You heard me? And most importantly, I know my females are locked in. You hear me? I mean, locked in. Locked in. I ain't got to worry about nothing. She didn't even respond when he said that. They're locked in at a high level, so I don't have to worry about anything. He knows his girl is not locked in. And here's the other piece. She knows she's not locked in. She damn near did that to police herself. She knows she's not locked in. And he knows what she values. She wants to be a podcaster. Maybe she values podcasting. She wants to be a famous influencer. Maybe she values famous influencers. He calls himself a social media expert, has damn near no followers. I don't call myself a social media expert, have way more followers. So maybe he's paranoid that the guy who's better looking, stronger, younger, has a bigger presence and way more income, maybe she might be interested in that guy, and that causes him to go crash out. But here's the thing. When you go crash out, you look really weak and bad in front of your old lady. When she sees you being jealous or insecure, oh, you look weak. And you know what you did when you did that? You verified that the other guy is more appealing than you are. You verified that you fear that other man, that you feel inferior to that other man. You heard me? I don't have to break a sweat or break my neck because I'm a real boss out here. Brody was super paranoid. Like, oh my God, the St. Louis Center sent her a DM. She's going to end up pregnant. Like, come on, bro, knock it off. As far as I assume she has children, I don't want to deal with a woman who's of below average attractiveness, who lives in the middle of nowhere and has kids and sleeps with you. Just the fact that you look like you do, little buddy, like she ain't even qualified to deal with me. That disgusts me, looking at you, knowing that you got in before I got in. That's nasty to me, bro. Come on, man. Knock it off. Utterly ridiculous. Like, how do either of you believe that I'm attracted to Shorty? Like, what? Come on, be real. Be real here. Anyways, so bro says the word bin, B-E-E-N. He says that word is a sexual word. That's extraordinary, because I've used that word many times and it's never once been sexual. Let me look up the definition. Maybe I'm missing something. Let me go to dictionary.com. I'm just going to type in the word bin, because like maybe there's something I just did not know about. It's possible. Bin, past participle of be. Where's the sexual part? This has always been a labor town. Okay, past participle. Okay. Ministers have been locked. I don't get it. Where's the sexual part? So strange. I think it turns out there isn't a sexual part, and bro's paranoia and insecurity just has him looking like a dweeb. I think that's the problem. Like, bro is so insecure, he let a broad send him out on a dummy mission. He looks utterly pathetic and stupid. It's like really sad. Shout out to D Dots writes, John spent his monthly wages just to say bullish about someone a trillion times more successful and wise. Hashtag stop the meat manglers 2024. Wisen up, kids. Shout out to Issa Gay. He writes, get them likes up in a real way. Man, I got slides. Do other people prepare at this level? I got slides, man. Shout out to None of the Above 101 writes, mods, hateful cowards are starting to percolate into the chat without paying tribute. Let's get them out expeditiously. No room for indeed. And I always encourage you guys to be aggressive. Shout out to Cautious writes, apologies for the typo. I must have. Okay, fair enough. He writes, John, boy, thank you for your contributions. Now settle down and pay attention. John is back. He writes, I think you're weak for oh, goodness. Bro, just come on screen, John. Stop it. Just come on screen. You have an invite from the big homie. Marcos writes, peace of the saints. It's been a while since I've caught a live and I had to rewind it from the beginning. Shout out to Marcos. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Shout out to Herb. He writes, there's so many forms of Islam, Sunni, Shia. Yes, indeed. How do I know which one is worth exploring? I'm interested in learning. I'm not here to give dawah, and I don't teach any of the religions, and I generally don't recommend religion. So I'll leave it at that. If you'd like to know any Islamic scholars that I think have a good word, I can share some of those names with you. I will steer you away from Mufti Menk, for he is completely compromised, and wishing you much peace on your spiritual journey. Shout out to Michael. He writes, the ism saves lives. Marquettism is for the kids. Michael writes, I feel sorry for Marquette. Your intelligence makes it more apparent you're surrounded by imbeciles. Had to misspell it. Shout out to the real ones. Not this ball back again. He writes, they believe you're attracted to her because you've been attracted to even less attractive Euro and Black 304s on your podcast. Okay, buddy. All right, buddy. John, scared as hell. John over there, his armpits musty as hell. That boy's sweating something vicious. Oh, John, don't you feel embarrassed that the whole chat knows that you're scared to come online? You keep doing the cowardly thing. You little nerd. You poor thing. So anyways, this insecure weak male by name of Homer Simpson, he carries on. He writes, you ever been skydiving with a black man? Question mark. This is getting weirder by the minute, isn't it? Now that's concisely asking something. So what you're asking is the obvious to my wife. It's obvious? How's it only obvious to your nut ass wife and you, but nobody else? He writes, I'm asking you to be respectful to me. Well, let me be clear. I don't respect. I know you're watching right now. I know for a fact you're watching right now. I bet my firstborn son that you're watching. I don't respect you at all. I don't respect your way of life. I don't respect your accomplishments. I don't respect your family. I don't respect your family name. I don't respect your culture. I don't respect your religion. I respect nothing about you. I truly believe in beating up simps. I believe that individuals like you are the worst thing on earth. You are the reason that women are out of control, specifically the liberal white woman, which is what you're married to. I don't respect you at all. And I hope that you don't procreate. I hope that your time on earth, you and your whole family, is very brief. I think that you are a poison to mankind. In case you're wondering, now you know. I will not give you respect, for I don't respect you. And I don't think anyone ever thought I respected you. Like that's should have been clear off rip. What are you thinking? So strange. Anyways, he writes, I apologize to no man when I ask for moral etiquette. It's like, you don't have any morals. And I already explained why, so I'm not going to reiterate that. But I tell you what, if we were in person, you and I would make you apologize. I literally will make you. And your only recourse would be to call the government. And that's why people like you're liberal. You like big government because you need to use government to contend with men like me. You need government. You have to rely on government. I would make you apologize. I really would. And in case you guys are wondering, Marquette, would you? Would you? Like, he seems like a perfectly, strong, masculine man, Marquette. How could you do such a thing, Marquette? I don't think you could make this guy apologize. Yeah, actually I could. It's this guy right here. It's this guy. Yeah, no, I would for sure make him apologize. And you know what I would do just to emasculate him after I made him apologize? I would have him in a headlock. I'd give him a noogie like he's a little kid. And then I would kiss his bald head just to emasculate him. You hear me? Just sex playing just to emasculate him. You dig? He's super weak. He's not a dominant male. He's not a masculine male. And I know, because if he was a dominant or a masculine male, this whole situation would have never happened. Never would have happened. And the reason I know it would have never happened, because it never happens to me. My women don't engage men. They don't go out in the world and work. They don't even have conversations with men. So hour-long podcasts, DMs, that's all out. So that never happens. You see, that's why when you live by a true philosophy, Marquettism saves lives. You live by that ism, you won't even have this situation. Your insecurity would have never been like aroused. Come on now. Come on now. Anyways, may I acknowledge? Shout out to Majesty supporting the work. May I also acknowledge Drip Lord. He writes, is it any surprise that John is scared? No, sir, it is not. He has no profile picture. Don't we notice that all the time? And chooses to talk recklessly over Super Chat with a fake name, because we all know his name's not John, right? John is for John Doe, right? Come on now. He is the representative of all weak beta males. Peace of the saints in a real way. Shout out to Salah supporting the work. John the liar is back. He writes, you look like Widget the World Watcher. I don't even know what that is. Your chat can't be that smart if they can't see that you're a fraud. Are you going to give us any examples of that? Like what are the examples of that? Like the evidence of that? In fact, I'll let you come on live stream and explain the evidence, actually, and I'll be silent and I'll let you explain it. We've given many people the opportunity. They never can, because you see, it's the emotionalism. It's the jealousy. They're jealous. And that is what causes their emotions to tell lies, causes their emotions to make them pretend they believe things that we know they don't believe. He writes, so what they think doesn't matter. Okay, that's fine, John. But I'm sure there's some people you can persuade. Just come online, explain how I'm a fraud. Just give us evidence. Explain it. We want to hear it. But no one's ever explained it. And I'll tell you why. This is why. Think about it. Of all the people on YouTube, I actually have the background to do the things that I say I've done. And you can check news articles and they go back over 10 years of me accomplishing things in the real world. Yes. So you can try and make up stuff, but the moment someone types my name into a Google search, it becomes very clear. I'm the real deal. You don't go to Berkeley. You don't go to Johns Hopkins, take a 4-year degree, but finish it in 3 years, take a master's degree while working full time and starting a nonprofit full time. Then you become a distinguished alumnus of the Johns Hopkins University. Those are called first-rate brains. You don't have first-rate brains and then you can't go out into the marketplace and earn well. Come on, it just doesn't add up. My background is the background of someone who would be living the way I live. You see, now maybe you look at other people in the YouTube space and you look at their background and then you have to wonder, like, something's fishy. But with mine, it's all A1 from day one. It's a big difference, my dear boy. Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous. Go out, get you some education, get you some money, and then you'll see the whole world differently. But the reason you see the world the way that you do is because you're jealous. I have all the things you want. That's why I got the things you want. And instead of you being humble and saying, you know what, I'm just going to go out and make something of myself, you rather just sit back and hate because you don't have faith in yourself. And that's one thing I always tell you guys. You got to believe in yourself. And then you also have to work like a dog to go get it. But if you don't believe, you'll never get to work. Anyways, shout out to the ballers. Shout out to Ray supporting the work. Came in by PayPal. He writes, she looks like the crazy lady from Misery. Is that like a movie or something, or a play? May I acknowledge Matthew? He writes, peace of the saints. I stopped attending university. I want to become well-educated through independent study. I understand this is a broad statement. Can you help me sharpen this goal? Well, number one, Matthew, I would say identify a goal. Becoming well-educated itself it's not very impressive, because the world does not respect generalists. It respects experts. So you want to have a specialization, or you want to have knowledge in areas that are critical and future oriented, artificial intelligence, fintech, health tech, things like that. So being a Renaissance man has increasingly less value, right? That's something that the European bourgeoisie or aristocracy would speak well upon, but you didn't grow up in, Renaissance Europe. Today, it's the specialist that is revered, and you want to make sure that you specialize in something that's in fact profitable and meaningful in our day. Shout out to Raymond. He writes, never thought I'd see the day where you would do a weekly collab, then a weekly call-in show as well. The weekly collab is off. The weekly call-in show is on. He writes, this work is pure and the ism is strong. Peace of the saints. Yes, indeed. Peace of the saints. Now that I have the plantation, I can be a little bit more settled, and I plan to be. So I figured it'd be great to have a weekly show where I can give some game at a predictable time, because as the powers that be, the super haters, those folks like John, Google, as they get together and try to suppress me, and they don't give my notifications when I go live, I have to start at a same time every week, so for sure that you can find me somewhere. So it's all a part of a master plan. Thank you for that support. I appreciate you. Shout out to Dominic. He writes, I'm getting Aaron the runner flashbacks. You know, it's her husband. Oh, guaranteed. Bro, it's so emotional too. Her husband's probably a fan, though. That's what hurts my heart is her husband used to be a fan, and now he's a real bona fide hater. It's really sad. But anyways, let's get back to this work. So in response to my logical questions, he didn't have any meaningful response. He says, he has no meaningful response. And then I write, so you believe that I was attempting to flirt with your wife? For what outcome? And that's really what it comes down to, right? It's like you're suggesting that I'm flirting with your wife. Well, what's the outcome, right? Like, am I trying to have intercourse with your wife? Like, what am I trying to get to? Am I trying to like fleece her for money that she does not have? Am I trying to floss her and say like, hey, I got at this woman that no one knows and is not that attractive. Like, I want to show it off or something. Like, do I want to embarrass you? I never met you. Like, why do you think this? Like, what's my motivating force? Like, your wife is very mid. Like very mid. And there's no incentive to play nice with her or to flirt with her because we're not on a live dating podcast, which is what John was referencing. So it's like, there's just no logical reason. So I was asking him like, so what am I trying to do? Am I trying to have intercourse with your wife who has kids by you and like lives in the middle of nowhere and is unimpressed? Like, come on, bro, like knock it off. It just doesn't make sense. It's silliness. It's silliness, utter silliness, preposterous. It's preposterous. Now, let's go here. Now we have a lot to learn. And this is going to be very instructive for you guys because some of you guys might think that you're with a good woman, but I would like to tell you that you are not. There may be some red flags that you're ignoring, and we're going to get right after it. Also, this is going to teach you guys some things about communication. So you're really about to enjoy this analysis. And I did not give it to you before because if I collaborate with someone, I show them honor and respect. I'm not going to be critical of them. I'm not going to be unnecessarily critical of them, even though there's a lot of teaching that can be done on the basis of reviewing the interview. So now we can teach. Now we can do some teaching here. Anyways, shout out to Salah. He writes, the plantation and the Maybach are whiter than John's teeth. Oh, indeed. The Maybach is actually pearl, like it's pearl. To be exact. Shout out to Michael. He writes, during your live stream with that lady, she went on about her husband being a good man. I was tempted to super chat. If your husband is this and that, then why don't you stay slim for him? I now see why. Oh, exactly, bruh. Exactly. Like these people are so phony. That's the problem with humankind is it's the delusion and the inability to see the self. Johnny girl writes, you're hating on Candace. Actually, no one's currently talking about Candace. So stop talking about hating. Oh, okay, got you. The best thing you've done with your life is to be a teacher in schools and hate on people more successful than you online. And get what the heck? This guy's insane. You look like Nick Van Axel, bro. You stole that from somebody else. And when I heard the first time, that shit was funny. I'm not gonna lie to you. He writes, stop the attractive talk. You below mid. Now, this is from the guy who won't come on camera. This is the stuff I'm talking about. This is the stuff I'm talking about. They won't come on camera, but they have so many opinions. This is the world you live in. Internet nerds, weirdos, low self-esteem people, liars, deluded people. They think that they can talk reality into existence. It's really sad. Oh, it's so sad. It's so very sad. Now, imagine being so scared. A man is live roasting you and you won't even have a conversation. You're scared of the conversation itself. It's not like I'm gonna haul off and punch you in the face, buddy. Like it's just a conversation. You're very, very terrified. You're very scared. Very scared, John. It's sad. Saddens me, John. Shout out to the ballers. Shout out to Mr. Benjamin. He writes, John, it's too late. Quet has already impregnated your wife by just looking at her. You can't do anything anymore. Bruh, like John, please, bro. We know it's you. We know it's you. Come on, man. These boys be so hurt out here, man. And that's why, when I'm around people's old lady, I don't engage them. I don't introduce myself. I don't shake their hands. I don't say anything to them because I don't want them to, get infatuated with a hustler's aroma. You dig? I like to keep my distance because then you got people like John, his old lady, want to holler at a boss and she's torn inside. So she goes to report it because she's torn. You hear me? And then John just crashed all the way out. Broden crashed all the way out. Shout out to Roadrunner Dreek writes, YouTube hating on the big homie. I didn't get the notification. Exactly. That's my whole point. That's why I'm going to go live at a regular time every week. And it appears that according to the polls, we'll be talking about business and entrepreneurship. Thank you for supporting. Shout out to the real ones. Now let's go ahead and learn. And you guys are about to learn how to break somebody down, how to really analyze them. Let me go ahead and hydrate because we're about to get this work. Send in your questions, comments, your tuition, send in your tithes because it's about to get real church up in here. It's about to get tabernacle. Yes, indeed. Shout out to ISB, writes, peace of the Saints tuition, just tapped in. Did I just hear you say the weekly collab, the commission is off? Damn, yeah, and shout out to David. You know, I'm really always impressed with David, such a hardworking, ambitious gentleman. And it was a pleasure to do the collaborations while we did them. And I love the way he does business. He's taught me a lot. So shout out to Cooley. Shout out to my good brother. Roadrunner Dreek writes, peace to the Saints. Yes, indeed. Peace to the Saints. Yes, we about to get this work in. Shout out to Raymond. He writes, shout out to John. He is approaching a double baller alert. And one live he supported more than the freeloaders would dream of. Peace to the Saints. Indeed, it's a beautiful thing. Shout out to John. Even though he's a bit emotional, shout out to John. Yes, indeedy. Okay, let's go ahead and get to this work. Peace to the Saints. I'm back at it. It's Hustle Mania. Today we have Liz Rice, her YouTube. Oh, by the way, just shout out to the bed, the headboard matching the shirt, though. Just shout out to that. And its opposite. We're going to talk politics, America, and all the rest of it. Liz, would you be kind enough to give an introduction of yourself?
So obviously I'm Liz Rice. I started the Green Eyed Girl.
I didn't even remember. She has decent teeth. So like I want to amend that. Her teeth aren't so bad. Shout out to Liz.
Podcast about 6 months.
But she has way too much eyeliner on though. Can we all agree on that? Can we agree that she went like way too hard on the eyeliner? That's kind of killing me. Especially I always tell my white girls, I'm like, look, you're white. The eyeliner is stark black. It doesn't match any of your features. It's too dark. And so not only do you have black eyeliner, she like tripled down on it. It's vile. It is vile. Anyways, carrying on.
Months ago, because culture is just cooked right now. And I wanted to jump in and lend a female voice into promoting anti-feminism. But
now let me tell you what's weird. So this broad thinks she's a revolutionary. She said that the culture is cooked right now. Oh, and we need you to fix it? You're the problem. Liberal white woman, you're the problem. When we say culture is cooked, we're talking about you, dummy. You're the problem. You're spreading poison around the world. Oh, but you're going to help us. A woman is going to lead us out. Shorty thinks she's Joan of Arc. Insane. She thinks she's Joan of Arc out here. And this is the broad that he's calling his wife. Shout out to Josh supporting the work. We appreciate you. Like, come on, bro. Like, knock it off. You need to just go cook up a meal and shut up.
Culture is just
of yourself.
So obviously I'm Liz Rice. I started the
How are you going to say, obviously I'm Liz Rice, like you're famous? Like, please stop it.
Green Eyed Girl podcast about 6 months ago because culture is just cooked, right?
She said she started her podcast because culture is cooked. So you were at home sitting around in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, and you thought the world needs to hear my voice. I've accomplished nothing in life. Nobody knows me. No one knows my name. I've barely been anywhere outside of Kentucky. The world needs to hear me because culture is cooked and I'm going to be the one to uncook it. What? It's ludicrous.
Right now, and I want.
Let's be real. She saw Candace Owens. She saw Just Pearly Things, and she never made a penny in her life. And she said, I could do that too. All they're doing is talking and saying what the audience of beta males want to hear. I can do that too. That's what happened. And she's in poverty, and she spoke to that before. So it's a money grab. Done.
Wanted to jump in and lend a female voice into promoting anti-feminism, but also the love of women, because women do have just inherent value. But at the same time, we are just not behaving the way we should.
Did you notice that femininity slip out so quickly? She stated, quote, women have inherent value. You would only state that in the underlying suggestion is that men don't. So she said women have inherent value. Why? Why is that? You have to substantiate that. And how? Like, what's the value? So that's the exact feminist principle. The concept of inherent value is why the woman thinks you should pay for her on the date. The inherent value is why she thinks you got to be the one to ask her on the date. The inherent value that these Western slurs think they have is why they think you should get on one knee like a groveling peasant to propose to them. which is insane because all you're doing is signing up for a life of only dealing with one woman physically, only dealing with one woman in terms of her as a resource to you, and she's going to control you and use sex to manipulate you, and you're signing up to be locked into a lifelong contract in which you have to provide for her. That's a good deal. That's a terrible deal. But because of the concept of inherent female value, they have the upper hand, and you weaklings go for it. That's a feminist idea, but she's the one saying that she's traditional and the world's cooked. She's going to fix it. Come on, man. Y'all buy this? This is the same thing that Candace Owens and Just Pearly things are on, man. Because let's be real here. If you took the male version of Candace Owens, you took the female version of Just Pearly things, you guys wouldn't listen to them. No, you wouldn't. Just Pearly things. Tall, awkward, sleepy looking, not stylish. If you turn her into a white man saying the exact thing she's saying today, nobody would listen because she would be a part of many white men saying that. She wouldn't be unique anymore. Huh? Come on, man.
Should. And even coming from a conservative household, I got sucked in and saw the light and started coming out of it. But
did you hear her story? She basically said, I grew up as a feminist. Like who? Like Candace Owens. And then when I realized I could make money as a conservative, I flipped it. But she's still a liberal. Huh? The tiger doesn't change its stripes. She the one start off with that. Women have inherent value. Oh, that's so empowering. Independent woman. Come on, man. I see right through her. The noble one writes, thank you, love and peace from a Bible thumping extremist here.
A lot of women are turned off by the male driven culture topics. So I figured I'd jump in from the female perspective.
So would you consider yourself a Just Pearly things type of character? How are we going to categorize you?
Now listen to what she says.
No, while Pearl was a huge part of my awakening.
Workplace is shutting down, but no worries. Connecting.
Oh, my fault, y'all. Let me switch over real quick. YouTube trying to get their money, boy.
Peace to the saints. I'm an off color.
To women, they just need to and think in.
Hey, so you said why
it's just gone a little too harsh and go.
Just Pearly things.
There we go.
Type of character. How are we going to categorize you?
No, while Pearl was a huge part of my awakening, she is maybe a little too harsh and goes so far to the side of
men, to the side of men. Yeah. So she just said Just Pearly things is too harsh. Well, why is she too harsh? She's too harsh because you are a feminist at heart and you don't like the ideas that Just Pearly things is sharing. So even though you modeled yourself after Just Pearly things and Candace Owens to come make your money grab while offering no value whatsoever, you still don't agree with their ideology. So you're going to masquerade and pretend as much as you can so that you can get paid. I get it. I totally get it. Shout out to Cautious writes, tuition, arrogance in our Western society is absurd and it is quite redundant. Go preach, Shepherd. Sir, yes, sir. Shout out to Chung. He writes, if she's conservative, then I'm black. Bruh, exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Anti-women. I mean, she just basically doesn't think women have any value from what I can tell. And it's just gone a little too far to the other side. And I've watched her go.
Boy, she got some thick fingers, this girl right here. She got some real, solid hands.
And I understand why she got there. But at the same time, I'm a Christian and I believe.
You're a Christian, are you? What's Christian about you, though? If you're so Christian, how come I can't tell you're a Christian without you saying, I'm a Christian? When I see a Amish person, I could tell that they're Amish without them saying I'm Amish. When I see a Mennonite, I can tell they're Mennonite without them saying I'm a Mennonite. When I see a Muslim, I can tell she's a Muslim without her saying I'm a Muslim. When I see a Jew, I can tell they're a Jew without her saying I'm Jewish. But you're a Christian, but there's nothing Christian about you. How come you have to proclaim it? It's because you do not live it. Huh? You must proclaim because you don't live it. Shout out to Danny, just became a member at thesassin.com. That's THESASN.com. Click join, become a part of this thing of ours.
Believe that all men were created equal, and that includes women. Women just.
Oh, so you just said that men and women are equal. How Christian could you be? Because the Bible doesn't view men and women as equal. Jesus, man. God, man. The favorite prophets, men. Where's the equality? A lot of women are referred to the daughter of so-and-so, the wife of so-and-so. They don't even have their own identity apart from a man. Man was created first with purpose. A woman was created to help a man with his purpose. How is there equality? There is no equality. Where'd you get that? That's not scriptural. You're a liar, like most Christians. Come on now. I should say most religious people. The ism saves lives.
Are not in the space that they belong in.
We're
sitting trying to compete with men.
We have a lot to unpack there.
Let me tell you the irony. You're looking at me on screen. You're looking at her on screen. We're both podcasters. We're both in the exact same industry going for the same demographic. And she's saying women shouldn't be competing with men. And the great irony is that she can't see herself right there competing with a man. Come on now. Come on now. Somebody talk about it.
So
The
you
delusion.
said you know why Pearl went in the direction of, as you state, hating women. Why is it? Why did she end up there?
Now think about how much of a feminist she has to be. She just says Pearl hates women. That's feminist talk. That's feminist talk. Come on now.
Was when she started diving into divorce, and she saw like the darkest sides of what happens to men in divorce. And I think it just cooked her entire perspective of women at all. And she also has like the worst women known to man on her podcast at all times.
So if you'd give me some explanation. You did mention, you said you saw what happened to your stepfather. What do you mean by? I can hear you now.
Okay,
you
good.
said that you saw what happened to your stepfather. What do you mean by that?
My stepfather had.
You know what's crazy? I thought that was like a real wooden background. That's actually like a sheet behind her. That's like a freaking like cloth background. That's crazy. She grew up with a stepfather, so she's used to being around beta males. So let's hear what she has to say.
Has another daughter, and long story short, she got told every day of her childhood that her dad didn't love her enough to stick around. You know, her mom packed up and left, and
bro, sick. He said she looks easy to draw. Bro, you're not lying. She looked like one of them little kid drawings. Jeremy, that's crazy. That's one of the bro says she looks easy to draw. Shout out to the ballers. Teddy came in with a baller alert. He writes, good evening, Saint. Quick update. I have an interview tomorrow for the IT compliance director position. Shout out to the director level in IT. That's good pay. That's beautiful right there. He writes, I'm excited about it, as you should be. Go in there happy and healthy and wealthy and exude that. He writes, additionally, I launched my ergonomics drop shipping company. Okay. All right. My end goal is to create my own product, as you always teach. It sounds like you're well on your way, and congratulations for being successful. Thank you for sharing that good news with us, because we can always use good news and good people. Even if you might not be experiencing the best in life, if you hear of someone who is, it lifts you up. So thank you for making all of our days brighter. And I'm so happy to hear that for you. Teddy's really a part of this community. He's always supporting. And so I love to see him winning. Let's keep going up.
Took everything, and my stepsister came to our house every other weekend, but after a while,
Shut up.
My family, and let that be handled. But I also
Established in that methodology. But even among women that say that they're conservative, most of them still are not conservative.
See, this is me being nice and polite and telling her, hey, you're a fucking faker. You're a faker. You're acting like you're conservative, but you're really a liberal. You're a feminist. So let's hear me politely tell her she's phony.
Trying to clarify, because
oh, and there she is right there. How non-feminine is that? This just lets you know she wasn't raised right, number one. And this is, in the Master Communicator course and or Boss University, I have an etiquette lesson. And you should take it. You should definitely use that lesson. Etiquette will get you far. One thing, generally, etiquette would dictate that you don't drink directly out of cans. You would pour the liquid into a glass and then drink out of the glass. Me, I might drink out of a can every now and then. I don't drink soda. I don't drink many things that would come in a can. But, if I'm on the move or something, I might drink out of a can. I'm a man. It's a little different. For a woman, you don't drink out of a can. And if you do, you damn sure don't turn that damn thing like way up here. Like you're trying to get the last ounce of liquid down your throat. And then what's worse is she's clearly drinking like an energy drink. And we've discussed this before. This is very low class stuff. People who have class and income and education, health, your health will be negatively impacted by energy drinks. There's sugar and caffeine. That's all they are. So this speaks very poorly of her in general, especially as a mother, because if you're a mother and you put poisons into your body, you're also going to poison your husband and you're going to poison your kids. And that's why I tell you guys not to deal with these low-class females. You hear me? And then here's the other piece. She even doesn't know what to be ashamed of. She doesn't know what to hide or when to hide it. And she's basically showcasing herself right now to be a filthy low-class animal. And she's drinking this like it's a goddamn can of beer on her break from being a construction worker.
Because I think women that say they're conservative are the better of women. Women that say that they're liberal are devils on earth. But even among women that say that they're conservative, most of them still are not conservative.
Oh, no, I absolutely agree. I actually call them church feminists. It's my personal view on it.
Now, this woman, you can see her neck is starting to become red. And that's because she's nervous. And I think it's because she knows she's being found out. And I think she's peeping the underlying conversation, which is me saying like, hey, you're a fake conservative. And so you see that pinkness emerging on her neck, an indicator of her being uncomfortable while she's pounding Red Bulls.
Well, I think the church and religion itself is a major harbor for female misbehavior. Like the idea that if you believe that your husband is your leader and the Bible states that you have to submit and be obedient, those are very strong words. Submission is total and obedience is complete. And obedience is a kind of term that you use with child, which is to establish the level of hierarchy. So if the woman...
So notice, see, we established obedience and the hierarchical relationship that establishes and the rights and privileges that you get in the upper part of that relationship. Now let's see if she follows it. You'll see how she rebels. She doesn't really respect her husband, nor does she submit to him. It's going to become abundantly clear as the conversation goes on. Shout out to Mr. Chambliss writes, Marquettergy drinks.
Behaves in a way that shows that she's in hysteria. And we all know that this does happen with the human female. The idea that your husband would yell and curse, I actually think that's more inappropriate than slapping you across the face. Because
it wasn't even a yell, not a yell, just a stern, hey, shut me. He'll shut me down.
See, this happens all the time, and I hate when they do this. Like women, they'll talk to a real man like me, and they know what a real man, they have a sense of what our ideals are, and so they'll try to lie and talk like their man is like us. They're really trying to impress bosses and suggest that they got a man that's just like us, when in reality, he's like some pig, fat, disgusting, lazy, soft dude that if he was actually there, we wouldn't even want him to be there. Like she'd be embarrassed of him, and I wouldn't want to kick it with him. So she's trying to make it seem like, oh, like, yeah, he's just like you know, like he's a real man. It's like, no, you already stated that he yelled. Those were the words you used. Now you're trying to clean it up to make it seem like he's a little more stoic and masculine. Like, come on, shorty, we already see what it is.
He just looks at me. And, you know, like the mom look, when a mom looks at her kid and she's like, knock it off. Same kind of situation. It's not that he's like screaming and berating me by any.
She backpedaling right there. Shout out to Majin Smego writes, excellent breakdown. Go in on the unfreedom-based feminists. 99% of conservatives online are frauds. Bruh, listen, the American left and right are right next to each other. We should just call them the middle.
Level. Yeah. It's just firm, knock it off. You know,
and
I cuss a lot. So does he. It's just kind of.
See, low class people. She said, I cuss a lot. So does he. Like, wow, that's so attractive as a female. Psych. It's not attractive as a male either. So these are low class, raunchy people that we're dealing with. And the worst thing about it is that we have so much tolerance in our country and a lack of classism. We need to bring it back, that we have these raunchy ass people who don't realize that they're trash. And so because they don't know that they're trash, they think that their way of living is good and admirable. And then they spread their poison across the nation. She just said that they both curse a lot. She also just before that said that they're both Christians. So which is it, ma'am? Are you a devout Christian that respects hierarchy, or are you a foul-mouthed masculine lesbian? Ooh, did I say that? I meant feminist, but you get the point. Shout out to Majesty. He writes, knew she was fake when she said all men are created equal. They resist hierarchy. Peace of saints, bruh. Talk about it. The nature of our household in particular, but
I understand. And I think that
But
is,
a woman submitting to her husband, that's something the church has absolutely let feminism overrun it, especially.
She tried to use her hair to cover her red neck, but she actually doesn't have enough length or body to her hair due to her old age. So it's like kind of a waste.
The Protestant church. And I grew up in it. So I'm 100% saying there were very few households that I grew up around where mom wasn't the ultimate decision maker. Like they claimed that the dad was in charge, but it was, oh, well, I have to ask mom.
well, I think that if you're in a situation.
Now, it's funny that she says that. She basically said mom was in charge in the majority of households that she grew up around. And that's actually what she's been emulating. And that's why she's out in front. She has more Twitter and Instagram followers than her man. He says he's a social media expert, but really she's doing better at it. And she's out in front and she's doing interviews while he's at home in the background being a quiet little good boy.
They're very strong words, but it's like if you wouldn't give him the space, like you're essentially seeing him as a peer that you negotiate with, because he doesn't have any more dominion over you than your colleague at work. Like the things that you said he'd say to you, give you a stern look and a stern word. Your colleague at work might give you a stern look and a stern word.
You'll see the red on her neck is increasing, and it's also starting to start from the opposite side as well. Shout out to Mr. Chandler's writes, her husband is probably not the type of guy who ever was on a football or basketball or even hockey team. Oh, I agree. He doesn't look very athletic. Like he was like never athletic.
Word. So our culture has gotten so far away from the true hierarchy of relationships that in your mind, you find it strange that he would be able to exercise that level of power over you, so you reduce him to being able to do something that you would also accept from your colleague.
That was game.
These animals are playing music so loudly. Can you guys hear music from my microphone? Can you hear any music?
I can.
You can.
My husband makes the ultimate decisions in this house. I voice my opinions and I give him, hey, I kind of have a bad vibe about it. But if he says, hey, we're going to do this, we're doing it.
One thing I can tell you guys is in my experience, the women who like talk a lot, they do not respect your opinion. Not that they don't respect you in particular. It's just that they don't respect the opinions of others. That's why they talk so much. Why do they talk so much? Because they're self-absorbed. And when you're self-absorbed, you're turned in on yourself and you don't really care about that which is outside of you, which means you can't truly respect leadership. You can't take other people's opinions. If someone tells you no, you're going to keep re-questioning them and saying maybe or what about if this. And so this kind of woman that just talks a ton, there's just no way in hell she's letting the guy run the program because she's not quiet enough. She's not demure enough. We don't believe you. And
I'm on the road. There's no I told you so when shit goes sideways. It just is vulgar. What it is. So I think that's the difference is women are to submit to men. We are in the hierarchy. We are lower than men. But that we're also
that's crazy and see, this is why women should not be allowed to talk in public. Shout out to the Taliban, because she earlier on at the beginning, she said men are equal, which means women are equal as well to men. Said that at the beginning. That's the way she formulated it, which sounded a little bit clunky. Now she's saying that women are not equal to men. Why did she make that change? Well, she made that change because she's talking to a dominant male and she's yielding subconsciously. And so she's trying to get along. She's trying to go along to get along because she's a woman at the end of the day. She doesn't necessarily stand for principles and morals, and she doesn't have to. That's why she should not be in a position of leadership, especially not on an equal platform with me. So she just straight up lied to everybody and changed her position. Why? Because she doesn't actually have any positions. So you might wonder, well, why does Marquett speak the way he does about Just Pearly Things or Candace Owens? Because I know that they're just pretending. They're just parroting things that they've heard men say. That's all they're doing. They don't really believe in anything. They don't really stand for anything.
Also a helpmeet. We are here. God gave women intuition for a reason and don't necessarily have.
So now she's saying that men are above women, right? We're above women, but God gave women a power above that which he gave men. Men are mere mortals. Women have godlike intuition. They can predict the future. They're future seers. They're psychics. Extraordinarily dumb. You'd never have a single mother if that were the case. So now she's claiming that women can see things that men can't see. Well, then how could we lead you if you can see farther than we can see. You see, her ideology seeps out of her pores. When she's trying to hide it, she can't even hide it. Shout out to Rook writes, the audacity of this woman to assume you would even want her like that. She's a 5 acting. Bro, I'm trying to tell you, man. I'm trying to tell you. And the worst part about it, beyond being of modest and attractiveness, she's not smart. So it's like, shorty, what is going for you? What do you have working for you that makes me want you? Like, please stop it. Utterly ludicrous.
Intuition.
Oh, and side note, I took you guys through all the DMs. Did you guys see when she kept reaching out? She was the first person to reach out on DM. I didn't respond 2 times. She restarted the situation 3 times. So how is it that I want you? Please spare me.
Wait,
So
what
if
makes you
there's-
think you have intuition?
What do you mean? What makes me think I have intuition?
Why are you repeating my question?
Did you say God gave women intuition?
Yes. And women do nothing but suppress it.
That was crazy.
Women
Now she's
don't
getting
have any
weird.
intuition.
What do you mean women don't have any intuition?
Yeah, I'm responding to your argument. Your argument is women have intuition. So, like, what's the evidence of that?
That part.
Well, women have an inherent gut feeling about what's right and what's wrong. The
Like
problem
morally.
is we morally,
Well, then why
like
did they?
I'll put
they're the ones
it
that-
this way.
In your Bible, it states that
Hello.
Adam was not deceived,
Uh-oh.
but Eve was deceived.
Uh-oh.
So that would indicate that the man's
Uh-oh.
tuition is superior, because you
Hello.
said morally they have an intuition, but that's clearly wrong, because A, the original sin in your holy text, and then B, if
In
you
your
just
holy
go out
text,
in any
shorty.
society around the entire planet Earth and you look at, well, who's dressing in a promiscuous way to attract sexual attention,
That part.
it's always the female
That
versus
part.
the male, unless you're
Woo.
looking at homosexuals,
Cook.
which I don't even consider to be sane people.
Cook.
So like the tuition or the instinct for goodness is completely absent within the female. Further, if you look at divorce rates, which I know you're familiar with this because you're in the internet space, it's primarily females bring forth the divorce. So they don't have the tuition on which man is the right man. And historically, you're supposed to bring your suitor to your father,
Hello.
because the father has the tuition or the
Ooh.
wisdom. Like, women don't have
That boy
tuition. I think
good.
that, like, this is a strange idea. Like,
That boy
and this
good.
is also not in the Bible, and it's not scientifically proven.
Uh-oh.
These are the kind of things that we're suffering in the society because it's just like made up. It's like me saying, like,
yes.
Black people have like spirituality. It's like,
Thank
okay,
you.
well, what's the evidence of that?
Ooh, that boy good. That boy good. That boy good. Anyway, shout out to Trey. Just got the Book of Dark Truths. I see that you got it, which gives you access to it on the website. I just added you on school.com as well. So if you go to skool.com/Marquett, any of you guys, you can buy the courses there. Trey, I added you on School, so you have access to the Book of Dark Truths on School as well. Check your email for that invitation to School. It should be at no additional cost. Any of you guys who want to check out any of the courses, particularly the Book of Dark Truths, I think you'll be greatly edified by them. And look at her. She's smiling so hard. She didn't, her eyes then went closed. Okay. Yes. And those big fake lashes and that huge amount of eyeliner looks utterly insane. Just utterly insane.
So this is part of where culture has absolutely destroyed things. So the first time a woman goes and puts on an outfit that's too revealing, there is this gut check. And that gut check you get told to suppress it. Oh, that's the patriarchy. So there is actually a gut instinct, and kids have this too. Kids get uncomfortable around people.
Like, first off, it's like, lady, what are you talking about, lady? She just doesn't make any sense right now. And she's struggling with her low output brain, and she's just trying to squeeze something intelligent out of it. And it's just leaking out ideas that are incoherent and not very impressive. She's just trying to put something together, and she's really failing miserably. The strange thing is that she said that when a woman dresses like a slore, she has an intuition that it's a bad thing, but she can't follow it because it's suppressed. Well, it was the woman who put on the clothes, right? Who dressed like a slore in the first place. So are they inherently evil? Curious. And if they're suppressing their intuition, then clearly it's not that strong, or maybe it doesn't exist. And then you skip from women to now you're talking about children, which is kind of unrelated. And then you're basically saying that children, let's rewind what she said about children, because it's kind of spooky. Let's rewind this a
So
little bit.
kids have this too. That's the patriarchy. So there is actually a gut instinct, and kids have this too. Kids get uncomfortable around people.
Okay, so she said there's a gut instinct and kids have this too. And then all of a sudden she's saying kids get uncomfortable around people. You see, I think what this actually is this is her sharing a little bit of her story with us. And I'd bet my life that as a child, she experienced some unfortunate things. Let's just leave it at that. As a child, she for sure experienced unfortunate things. And she's saying it without saying it, because that was very random how she brought that in. It's largely unrelated. So there you go. And it's not surprising when you have females that operate and have a masculine tonation, and often they suffered as a child. Often they suffered in the worst way as a child. And they're using this masculine front to basically make themselves unattractive to males, so that a male, kind of like the same identity as the person who abused them when they were a child, does not feel attracted to them. And thereby they can select what males they want to deal with, the weak ones, or they can choose to deal with other females. And you heard me call her the L word earlier, and this is why. I see through these people like glass. Anyway, shout out to Matthew, came in by Venmo. He writes, peace to the saints. I plan to specialize in AI, and product-based business for economic gain. Indeed, as it should be. However, I want to know if studying topics like history, psychology, English, and philosophy would be productive. No, not really. I can tell you this, hanging around intelligent people is like reading books. There are some foundational texts that'll be helpful to you to make you a little bit more sophisticated. But I would still say if you could read a book, now books are a little bit, behind, right? But if you could take out some time to read up, shall we say, on AI versus read a book called, fill in the blank with something that sounds important. That's just like a random book, Dostoevsky, or, The Origin of Species, or something like that, or Huxley. No, I'd probably say you'd be better off reading a trade-based text. Because here's the thing, if you are like the best guy in AI, no one really cares if you're well-rounded. But if you're extraordinarily well-rounded, but you're like the fifth best guy in AI, and they can choose the first best guy who's not well-rounded at all, I promise you they're going to go with the guy who's the best. So let me advise all of you, seek excellence. He writes, I want to better understand the world and human nature so I can better navigate it. I do believe you were at the Book of Dark Truths conference. So definitely dive back into that and continue getting experience. I think you're on the right track, and you're a young man. I remember being there, and as a young man, you have so much uncertainty. It's just youth and inexperience. But let me tell you this, sometimes we think there's more to the world, or it's more complex, and it's really not. Much of what you're seeing, that is what it is. There's certainly places that you need to travel to, and life ways that you're unfamiliar with. There are countries, entire countries of people that do things fundamentally differently. And that is not something you can read in a book. That's a wisdom that you have to gain through experience. So what I would advise you on now is to see how you can connect your interest and your skill set in AI to some economic opportunity, and then leverage that economic opportunity to get unique experiences, which will make you more sophisticated. Thank you for that question. I hope that many people benefited from that answer.
So kids have a natural, kind of off-putting sense when it comes to people of ill intent. Actually have that also. They just don't utilize it. And it absolutely can get out of control. This is why there is the male-female balance. Because women can...
You'll notice that the language that she uses, and let me break this down with some critical discourse analysis. She says there's a male-female balance. If you have two weights on a scale and they balance each other, that would indicate that they are the same weight. And if they're the same weight, that would indicate that mathematically, as far as pounds or kilos go, they are equal. So you see, even her language, where she doesn't use the word equal, she's in fact used the opposite and said that men are above women, but really she means equal, and she's a true believer in that. See, people can't break it down like I can break this down.
Can have that, and men can assess the situation and go, yeah, we're doing it anyway. I don't think you're correct, and move forward. That's why there's men. It's why women get insane when you leave them alone too long. They start getting all witchy and crap. But there is that gut check. at the beginning, and every single woman, if
Shorty is just looking more and more bizarre as I look at her. She said, if you leave women alone too long, they start getting witchy. See, this is the kind of woman I'd have to ask her, like, have you seen a therapist? Because I bet she has, and I bet she's on some serious psychotropic medications. And I bet she's done a lot of weird stuff in her day. She said women get witchy. I think she's really talking about herself. She gets witchy and weird.
she's honest with herself, knows exactly what that means. You put on a skirt that's just a little too short for the first time.
For the first time.
And you know you should go change into something else. You choose not to. And you've destroyed part of your natural.
Think about how long it took her to like try to explain female intuition, and she still failed at it. Extraordinary. Shout out to the dude 343 writes, peace of the saints. My payments got declined because it was on my credit card, which I maxed out. This was before the ism put the payment on my business debit card. Just wanted to share that. I will be at the Big Game Conference. I don't know what you're referring to be honest with you. But payment got declined because it was on my credit card, which was maxed out. This was before the ism. Well, I'm glad the ism has led you away from credit, which can be very damaging to people. There are much safer, wiser ways to build credit. The best thing you can do is to not ruin your credit. Building it up is one thing, but not ruining it is a bigger thing. He writes, payment on my business debit card. Just wanted to share that. I'll be at the Big Game Conference. Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, sounds good. Shout out to Majesty. He writes, people like her who seek fame for unreasonable things are very bad for society. Oh, yeah. And in fact, I would even go as far as to say probably 99.9% of people who want to be famous are probably bad people. I'm going to repeat that one more time. 99.9% of people who want to be famous are probably bad people. What is fame? Attention from strangers? Why would you want that? You need to feel loved. You're not going to get love. You're going to get people trying to use you, trying to make money off of you. You're not going to get what you're actually seeking. So it's the sick among us that are seeking to be famous. You lose your privacy and so many sacrifices. Yeah, no, we should be weary of those types. Shout out to Majesty. Okay, actually, I already read that one. Thank you. Carrying on.
Many whites in America came through Ellen, right, as immigrants.
Oh yeah, my ancestry is much more recent. Yeah.
And you see, she has no respect. She's talking while I'm talking. So that's an indication of how she relates to her husband. That's an indication of how she relates to her father. She's talking while I'm talking, a man. She has no reverence, no deference for a man's voice and being a listener, which is a more traditionally feminine position. She's probably a terrible, terrible mother.
Right. So, and when you look at like different European societies, it's just really a couple of them that were really modest. Like the founders of this country, I'm not even in America right now, but the founders of the United States, the Puritans, Quakers, and now today we have the Mennonites and the Amish. They are very conservative. We've lost that. The Europeans, that never really reigned. You look at the Victorian era and they have the bosom all out, and then they have the dresses that accentuate the hips. So like the modesty was just never really there. It was just a couple small religious pockets of people. And I think today we're all but lost, and our that are baked about Twitter.
I agree with you on that, but
a better way there. I
look much younger without makeup on. Is the other that's the cat makeup under the so I think can't want to wear makeup. If you don't. I'm not judging you either way.
I bet women love to not judge, right?
You just kind of like drinking me.
That's a funny thing. Isn't that a setup? Women, they say a lot, I'm not judging. What kind of guy do you like? Needs to be 6 foot, needs to have a six pack, needs to have a big wee, needs to live here, needs to drive this kind of car. But I'm not judging. Shorty, all y'all do is judge. Please knock it off. Ain't nobody buying that nonsense you're shoveling. Shout out to Rook writes, since she knows you'd reject her if she has to defend herself against a rejection that hasn't even happened. Ooh, that's deep, bro. And they really be like that too. You know, broads a break up with you before you break up with them type ish. She includes her husband as a signal to the beta that she is desired by other men. Ooh, hey, Rook got some game on him, boy. That's exactly what it is. But it's crazy because we damn sure know, every last one of us knows I wouldn't mess with this chick. You hear me? I'd have to be doing 5-10 years in the pen, straight, flat on my back. You dig? Come on now.
Meaning, like, if you don't drink, don't. If you
don't drink, don't. Like, I've never been somebody that is like, you have to drink, and I'm take it or leave it. I'm a take it or leave it kind of person. So, for something like this is, the makeup's kind of the mask, I guess, is what I would say. It's kind of my screen persona.
So you're saying you're fake?
I get dolled up when I go out with my husband.
Why?
Outside of that, like
Owens is an idiot.
Would judge me. I'm
okay. So here's the Candace Owens segment.
Out wearing Crocs.
Candace Owens is an idiot.
I actually love Candace, but
I hate when people speak with that level of imprecision. She said, "I love Candace." Do you? Do you love her? So disrespectful to your husband. Do you tell your husband that you love him? Do you tell your mother, your children that you love them, and you also love this person you've never met, who knows not even if you exist? Fascinating. Just so despicable, the era that we live in.
No,
she believes in like always looking nice, and I go to the farm store.
Candace Owens is a self-hating Black woman. She's a degenerate.
Not true.
No, she definitely.
You and I are going to agree to disagree on that one, but
no, we don't have to agree. But the facts are in my favor. If you're a Black person and you're making your hair look like a white person, then you're a person who hates that what you are. If you're a brunette and you're making yourself look like a blonde, you hate that what you are.
Oh, and by the way, while I'm saying this, she's sitting there with hair that has been dyed a red color that is not her true hair color.
If you are imitating the racial features of a race that you are not, you are imitating something that shows you view that look as superior and your own look as inferior.
Go off.
And furthermore, she started off as a liberal and then transformed into a conservative.
Yep.
This is an indication that her values, A, are not strong. They're not inherent in her. And then B, she's making a cash grab. Because as a Black person, saying the things that she says is far more profitable. Like, for example, if let's just say I'm anti-white, right? So if I'm anti-white as a Black person, that's not unique, right? Like, no one's going to pay me a bunch of money for being anti-white. Like, that's predictable. But if I'm anti-Black, then I can get paid. Just like you, for example, if you're anti-Black, that's uncommon in the mainstream. So you can get notoriety for that. But if you're anti-white as a white woman, that's not unique because many white women are liberal and they say the most.
And the game is so strong. Okay, so now we have John came back as James. I'm guessing when the moderators blocked him, Broden came back as James now. He writes, Bridget is a 4 and hope they run that train and put out the content. I'm not sure what that means. Bridget is a 4 and hope they run that train and put out the content. I don't think I understand what that means.
Most insane things. So you can say anti-white things and you'll just be a normal white woman. So the moment you do something that's against the grain is profitable. Candace Owens is no major intellect. She's not attractive. She is a self-hating Black woman. She has no values. And she's a money grubber. That's all she is.
Yeah.
That's actually not true. So I've listened to Candace since the beginning. And the funny thing, so this is where you're conflating values. It would be like you telling me I don't have values, because the more I learned, the more I realized that what I was purporting was.
Here's the funny thing. When she's trying to portray herself as more knowledgeable or insightful than me, and you can hear by the speech, her delayed speech, that she's struggling. She's thinking slowly, and her speech is reflective of her slow brain. And yet she believes that she's about to correct me. What a world, huh? What a time to be alive. Shout out to Burnell. He writes, Peace of the Saints. The breakdown is A1. I appreciate you, babe. Shorty is trying to correct me and can barely put together a sentence.
Was wrong. So I fell into many feminist trends. There
you go. I told you guys she's a feminist. Tiger doesn't change its stripes. And what she's suggesting to me is that it's okay. Candace Owens learned. And what I'm telling her is that a superior intellect, politics is not that complex. Values and assessing how values add up and impact societies is not that hard to think through if you're a superior intellect. And what I'm saying is that Candace is a regular person and just a couple IQ points above an average woman. And she's taken those couple IQ points and used that to make money. And that's what I'm telling you guys. Come on now. And that's the same thing that this broad is trying to do, but she's on the monkey see, monkey do train.
I mean, now that
Address
I've
the part
actually
about the
seen
hair.
the light,
Address the part about the hair.
I really don't know anything about the hair. I think if you want to wear your hair however you want it, my hair's naturally curly. It's not curly today. My hair's red.
Do you ever see white
Not
women
natural.
try to- Do you ever?
Exactly. I already know that your hair is not naturally that color. You've not surprised me at all, you fool. And that's my whole point, is that you guys do things that are fake, and they're obviously fake. And you're comfortable being fake because you're not authentic characters. You're not real. Shout out to ISB writes, that was cruel and idiotic. Why would you bring someone that works for him, who probably is kind, and think that it's a dig at Saint? Right. That's, it's sad. He writes, probably would not say any of that to Saint's face. Definitely would not. And you're right. The sad thing with regards to the individual that he's bringing up, this is like a nice little woman from the Midwest, and she's a quiet person, lives a quiet life, doesn't want to be on the internet at all. And the unfortunate thing is that she started working for me like many years ago, before YouTube was a thing, in a proper business. And she stayed on with me, and she's been a great employee. And it's just unfortunate that people like you are just so hateful and jealous that you try to attack anything. And one thing I talk about in my book, The Black Box, and I recommend this to all of you because it'll help you understand the world, and it's worth rereading if you have it. In my book, The Black Box, you can get this on Amazon. Just type Marquett Burton, The Black Box. I say, when people are truly your inferior and they cannot attack you, for you are superior in all ways, they will attack your circumstances. They will attack that which is around you. You see, I am so strong that he can't think of anything to say about me. So he has to talk about other people, which is really sad and weak, to talk about a woman in general, especially a woman who's a quiet, nice person who has nothing to do with any of this. It's really quite weak and sad.
I know that. I can tell that. But
it's not a natural color.
Yeah. Do you ever see white women try to make their hair look like a black woman, like an afro?
An afro? No, but most white women
got
couldn't
him.
get their hair to do that if they
Yeah,
tried.
they could actually. If you look back in the 80s, you'll see that. You look at the 80s, the 70s.
Oh, the big Farrah Fawcett flips and all that with all the super perms.
But they don't want to, is the point.
And here she is again talking over me. It's like, Shorty, you have no decorum whatsoever. One, because I'm a male, you shouldn't be talking over me. Two, because I'm the host, you shouldn't be talking over me. Three, you're a Christian who was raised right, supposedly, but that's not the case.
You could concede that, at least, right? That they don't want to make their hair look like a black woman's, and it's not necessarily
not current.
Got him.
Yeah,
it's coming. Unfortunately, I think it's coming back. I think it was kind of a wild look, but I'm not a huge fan of the 80s. But
right. So the point is, it's about power. When you are a weak person who feels inferior, you look to that which appears to be powerful, or that which is dominant, and you imitate it. Like if blacks were economically dominant and wealthy, then we wouldn't say the cisgender white male patriarchy. We'd say the cisgender black male patriarchy, and we'd attack the black man because he's the power player, and we'd emulate the white woman because she's the mate of the power player. So you're looking at someone who doesn't even have the confidence to be herself, which is an extraordinary basic. Furthermore, you have people who purport to be Christians, and there is no such thing as a conservative female Christian who is out in the public. It just is not in line.
That was a direct slap in the face, but that P slap was there was so much finesse on that P slap. You heard me? She just took it calmly. But I told her straight to her face, I said, there's no such thing as a conservative, real Christian woman who's out in the public, kind of like you're out in the public right now. Which is to say that you're not a conservative, you're not a Christian. You're a faker. You're a faker.
Behind with Christianity. The reason I honor women who say that they are conservative is because you're the best that we have in the public sphere. But the very best is not in the public sphere. But Candace Owens is despicable. So one, you can't address the hair piece. And the only reason we're talking about it is because you're defending her. If you'd just let it go, we just let it slide. You're addressing the hair. You skipped over the hair piece. Then she has a white husband. So you think those two things added together are just coincidental?
I think she married a man.
She just married a man.
I mean, she married a man. Do you judge?
Okay, see, so this is precisely, now it draws back to why I asked her that question on DM. I said she has a white husband, and then she's pretending as though it's just so easy to marry outside of your race. It's just happens. So that's why I asked her, well, have you been with a black man? Because if you haven't been in a relationship with a black man, then how could it be so easy for Candace to be in a relationship with a white man? Obviously, it doesn't just happen by choice. It should mean by chance. It happens by choice. Come on now. The ism is deep, man.
White women who marry black men too?
Yes.
Okay.
Got him.
Yes,
I mean, that's fine.
But that's also
him.
irrelevant, though, because we're talking not about black women and white men. We're talking about Candace Owens,
Hello.
who is a black woman who wears a white woman's hair. And in addition,
Hello.
she disparages black people almost in an idiotic way sometimes. And then on top of that, marries a white guy. So it's all of these things added together.
Exactly. It's all these things in concert. There's nothing wrong with marrying or dating or having kids outside of your race. But when you're a Candace Owens and you show that you hate everything about blackness, then we know you're doing this as an expression of your self-hatred, as opposed to as an expression of love or as an expression of I met someone that's remarkable. That's the point. Shout out to Matthew, comes in via Venmo, writes, peace to the saints as a stepping stone. I'm currently running a small window washing business. That sounds pretty cool. I tripled my revenue after watching your Patreon video entitled Creating Wealth and Happiness, starting from the beginning. Thank you. How can the saints help better support you and the mission? I appreciate that, Matthew. Number one, we're going to have the executives and the confirmed saints are coming to the plantation end of this month, I guess in a few weeks, in like 2 weeks. So we're going to do some serious planning. I want to make sure that I can empower some of the executives to be able to push out content on the platform generally so people can see how we're really living, see that people are really meeting up on a regular basis. It's a real community and there's huge levels of value for you. And I think that we already have so much that we're doing, but it's under marketed. The story is not being told. There are a lot of people in the online space. They try to emulate what we're doing because they think it's profitable, but they don't realize that we really believe in what we're doing. We have a real philosophy, a real community. It's not a business structure. And so I want to be able to show more of what we're doing. And that's the big thing. So if that comes to your mind, any ideas that you can implement on that, let me know and let's get it to work.
That create a picture of who she is. There's a reason you like her, but you just don't understand is what I'm pointing out.
Oh, no, I absolutely understand why I like her. And I can understand where you're coming from, but I think you're dead wrong.
Okay, so let me ask you this to see if you're reasonable. What of what I've said makes sense and is valid?
Now, mind you, there's a couple things in here. If you have the Master Communicator course, you notice these particular strategies that I had in that course. Highly recommended. And also peep the Venmo that just came through recently. If you're a member, check that one out. Matthew said it helped him triple his revenue. You guys are about growing revenue, right? Making more money. Check that lesson out. It's exclusive for the members. If you're not a member, patreon.com/thesaintinthecenter or theassassin.com. Click join. Boss up.
I don't think any of it personally.
Okay. So
I think people are going to wear their hair.
I
can understand where you're coming from, but I think
this is why you need the Master Communicator course. Listen how I set her up.
You're dead wrong.
Okay, so let me ask you this to see if you're reasonable. What of what I've said makes sense and is valid?
I don't think any of it personally.
Okay, so
I think people are going to wear their hair the way they want to wear their hair.
You've shown that you're completely unreasonable because if you're arguing with someone else, unless they're literally brainless, it's probably improbable that they make no sense at all. They might say something that is almost reasonable, but you said that I make no sense at all. Now, what are the chances that someone with my level of education, my level of experience makes no sense whatsoever? What are the chances?
Got him.
Pretty low. I'll give you that.
Yeah, you don't have to give it to me.
So here's the thing. On the hair thing, I don't.
Where people like you are so strong in your wrong beliefs that you think the other side completely makes no sense. Whereas if you said, Marquette, what makes sense about what Liz is saying? I say, Liz is correct that Candace does say intelligent things. Candace does bring meaningful statistics. Candace does voice things that I'm sure a lot of white folks would like to say, which is why they favor her. So I can make some concessions because I'm a reasonable man. And that's precisely why only men really should be reasoning. It's our strong suit.
I mean, I don't disagree.
She got
with
obliterated right there. You heard me?
Right, but you also think it's your strong suit, but you just said the most unreasonable thing, which is to suggest that I'm completely illogical and baseless.
Got him.
From your perspective, I understand where you're coming from. On an intellectual level, I get what you're saying.
From my perspective,
the hiding behind the hair thing, I think you conflate a lot of racial tension, and I don't actually think you've listened
Nobody
to Candace
mentioned
in
racial
full and what she
tension.
said. Where she's come down on the Black
Wait, who is
community
Candace Owens? Wait, real quick. Who is Candace Owens? You said you don't think I've listened to her. Who?
Now watch this point right here. This is another doozy. And notice how she tries to escape it by distracting and using a red herring, asking questions when really that's not the time. It's time for you to answer the questions, not ask. Notice how she tries to distract. Mind you, we need to acknowledge those who support the work. Shout out to Obed. He comes in by PayPal. He writes, paying what I can. She claims women and children have intuition. This asserts that both male and female children possess this. Also, that's a very good catch. Also, it implies that males eventually lose it. Indeed, a good catch. However, I bet big money that if you asked her when and how males lose it, she couldn't offer a reasonable answer. She has offered very few reasonable answers. She would appeal to ignorance. Furthermore, she doesn't have credibility that would allow others who matter to respect her opinion on public topics. Oh, I agree with you there. But yeah. Shout out to Mr. Chambliss, comes in via Venmo. He writes, Marquettamento, San Marquetisco, Santa Marquetta Cruz, Marquettian View, Marquettiville, San Marquetuno. If you know, you know. Carrying on.
Who is she that I should listen to her? What's her pedigree? What's her academic pedigree? Where does she go to school?
What does academic pedigree have to do with anything?
She's about to get flamed right here. Keep watching.
Because generally when you listen to people, it's because they have wisdom. Who
Thank
has
you.
wisdom? The people who generally have taken out time to study. When you're referencing things to say, oh, this or that is wrong, you usually reference studies. They're called academic studies.
Academic studies.
So
She actually does
don't
do
interrupt for a
that.
second. Academic
See, she tried to
pedigree is very
interrupt
important.
again.
So you're saying that she references studies, but I'm saying, who is she as an
Getting
academician?
bodied.
So explain to me, where did she go to school?
I don't know where she went to school.
Okay, so you don't know enough about her. You love her. You said you love her. Remember her language. I love Candace Owens. You love her. That's the strongest emotion in the human experience, love. But you don't even know where she went to school. You're telling me I should listen to her, but you don't even know her academic pedigree or background or preparation. There may be none. She may be a complete imbecile who knows nothing, who's accomplished nothing, but I should listen to her. Okay, fascinating. Shout out to Drippler writes, definitely a liberal white woman. Peace of the saints. She's getting dismantled so effortlessly. Oh, indeed she is. And it carries on.
I do know she was studying
you
Stanford
don't
Law.
know what her academic pedigree is. You don't even know what her academic pedigree is, but you're saying I should listen to her. What if I'm better educated than Candace Owens?
What if I'm
Should I
better
listen to
educated
her?
than you and you don't know it?
Is that the current question? I just asked you a question.
You see how she tried to dodge the question? First off, she's not. She's just lying. But most importantly, she's distracting. It's called a red herring. So she's trying to avoid the logical path that I'm taking her down.
asking me a question.
I missed your question.
So-
I'm sorry. You cut out.
You missed my
I
question.
didn't cut out. She's
I
lying.
cut out.
Now she was lying again right there. Claimed I cut out because she interrupted me. I didn't cut out. You heard me. You were trying to interrupt me. You're now lying.
I missed your question.
So-
I'm sorry. You cut out.
You missed my question. I see. I cut out.
No, the academic you're asking about.
I'm better. No, I'm going to tell you. You just asked me the question.
Mhm.
What if I'm better educated than Candace Owens? Should I listen to her?
If you're better educated than Candace Owens and all you're going based off of is corrupt colleges having given you
Oh, now colleges are all corrupt. This is sad. This is what we call moving the goalpost. Shout out to Roadrunner Dreek. Yeah, bro, I'm entertained too, but I'm also disgusted at this goofball broad. Shout out to Mr. Chambliss. Writes, what are your thoughts on Marquettarka and Bali? Would you return? No, the infrastructure in Bali. I might return to Bali just because the chicks are so fire, but Jakarta, probably not. I would skip that.
information, I think you're off base. I think colleges are brainwashing institution, and that's having come from colleges.
Oh, God.
Now, I believe a layman
So,
who doesn't
then
have
why
an
does she- why does
education
she-
can
real
absolutely
quick,
read.
Colleges are completely corrupt. Why does she reference studies that come out of colleges?
Because that's what everybody wants to reference. You don't have to have gone to a college
said it,
to be
correct.
able to read the information. You also don't
Yeah,
have to go
but
to
why even
college to
reference
be
it if it's corrupt?
indoctrinated.
Why even reference information if it's corrupt?
Because that's the norm, I guess.
So you're saying the person you follow just follows the norm? And that's okay.
No, I just don't agree that you have to go to college and have a professor spoon feed you the information from a perspective in order to be educated. I believe you can read the information for yourself that comes from these places and form your opinion.
Right. And you could also create
so you can take the facts.
Yourself. That's why I asked you, what's her academic pedigree? Because she could be a giant in her field. She could be a world-renowned political scientist or sociologist or gender studies person. And then you might say, well, Marquett, she's an expert in X, Y, and Z. She wrote the book on it. She did the studies. She has the primary resources. She's an anthropologist. But that's actually not the case.
She does actually present the primary resources, though, from the institutions from which you think she should have been educated. She just didn't go there to have a professor tell her what to think about it.
But what you're saying doesn't make sense. You're running in logical circles because you said that the colleges are corrupt. So hence what they put out would also be corrupt.
The college professors.
Those are the people who create the studies.
Got him
Some
again.
of them
are.
A lot of the research comes from separate entities than who actually teaches the classes.
Right, but they're also professors. They're academicians. That's my point. They're PhDs. You're basically, here's your thing. You support Candace Owens because she what you want to believe. It's emotions. That's all it is.
She got them sad eyes right now. She got them sad eyes. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if this big eyelash bra got on some contact lenses. I wouldn't even be surprised because there's a lack of humanity in her eyes. I like that. I'm gonna have to use that. Call this brother Nimrod. This Nimrod doesn't deserve to speak with you. She got a free education from a wise man and still couldn't take value from it. That part. Stay safe, my brother. You are needed badly. I appreciate you. Shout out to the real ones. I appreciate your support. And shout out to the Canadian section. The Canadian Saints do have an event coming up. I believe it is end of July, early August. Do check it out. And shout out to the section. Shout out to the executive up there. Ramsey's doing a phenomenal job. Really appreciate all of you guys. Shout out to all the folks in the leadership class. Winding down here.
If you guys can confirm, for me, look, the layer of masking, participating.
I heard to the mask. Yeah.
Yes, I said, as a Christian woman, why not separate yourself from those who are worldly in your appearance, not wearing the makeup, not doing the high heels, not dyeing your hair, and just be that which God created? Has your husband or father ever mentioned like no heels, no makeup?
No, not at all.
My
husband tells me I look beautiful either way. So he appreciates when I put the effort in to, kind of doll up and look better, especially if we're going to go out. But I mean, I wake up with a breathe right strip and all that on my face, and he still thinks I look beautiful. So I have that going for me.
Why would you doll up to go out if you're going out in front of other men? Wouldn't that be the time to doll down? Like to look.
I only put on makeup for my husband, but it's because I want to look like I belong with him.
Then he makes sense.
You said your husband doesn't care about the makeup either way. So how are you putting on makeup for your husband?
Got him. Look at her.
He thinks I look beautiful with it also. You can bring him over here and ask him if you want.
No, I actually think it's quite fascinating to hear it through you as your representation of him. But if you want me to interview him, I can interview him. No problem.
But I mean, just for me, it's I put in more effort because I want to look like I belong with my husband, because when he puts on nice clothes, he looks amazing. And I feel like I look a little.
Well, if he's putting on nice clothes, why don't you just put on nice clothes? We're not talking about clothes. We're talking about makeup, love. So why is it that his nice clothes make him look amazing? Why don't your nice clothes make you look amazing?
Dowdy with no makeup, he looks amazing. And I feel like I look a little dowdy with no makeup. So it's more that I care that I look correct with my husband.
She's basically saying, I don't look that good without makeup, which is a euphemistic way of just saying, I'm not that attractive. It's okay. It is what it is, sis. Ladies and saints, it's been a pleasure. I have this time to fellowship with you all. Until next time, peace to the saints.